Captain Daniel Whitmore slammed his fist on the map table and laughed, actually laughed in Sergeant Olivia Carter's face. "You're seeing ghosts, Carter. Shadows and nothing else." Around him, other officers joined in. Snickers, eye rolls. One man muttered something under his breath that made two others smirk. Olivia stood there, her intelligence report in hand, her warnings ignored, her voice erased, while 480 Marines were already loading into vehicles, heading straight toward the valley she had spent 3 weeks proving was a death trap. And nobody cared. If this story moves you, please subscribe to our channel and follow Olivia's story all the way to the end. Drop a comment and tell us what city you're watching from. I want to see how far this story travels. The report had taken Olivia Carter 22 days to build. 22 days of satellite imagery, cross-referenced topographical maps, historical ambush data going back 15 years, intercept analysis and pattern recognition work that she had done largely alone, largely in silence, largely without anyone asking her to. She had not been assigned this project. Nobody told her to spend her evenings rebuilding a three-dimensional mental model of Black Ridge Valley, using nothing but publicly available terrain data and her own obsessive attention to detail. Nobody asked her to correlate the movement signatures she had noticed in the eastern ridgeline photos from the drone sweeps with attack patterns from similar canyon engagements in previous years. She was maybe 5'5", faded combat gear that had been washed so many times the pattern had gone soft. No unit patch that anyone recognized. No rank showing. She stepped down off the tailgate with a rifle case in her left hand and a small pack on her right shoulder, and she did not look at any of them. Sergeant Vic Rennick was the first to say it out loud, because Rennick was always first to say it out loud. "Sir, tell me that's the resupply driver." "That's our long-range support," Cole said. "That's our what?" "You heard me?" Rennick made a sound in his throat. He was 34 years old, built like a refrigerator, and he had been in this business long enough to think he could read a person in 4 seconds. He had never been wrong about it. That was the problem. Nobody who is never wrong ever learns how to be. Emily Carter set the case down on the tailgate, popped the latches, and lifted the rifle out. The whole formation saw it at the same time. The stock was wrong. It had been cut and rebuilt, the wood grain running 2 different directions where somebody had spliced it. There was a hairline crack running back from the receiver that had been filled and sanded and filled again. The bluing on the barrel was worn down to gray metal for 8 inches. The scope was an old steel tube with a scratched objective lens and a turret cap that had been replaced with one that didn't quite match. Somebody in the second rank laughed, then somebody else, then the whole line. "Is that thing even going to fire?" "Ma'am," the museum called. "They want their exhibit back." "She found that in a storage room, I swear to God." Cole let it run for 3 seconds, because you can't kill a laugh by ordering it dead. Then he said, "That's enough," in the voice he almost never used, and it stopped. Almost. Rennick walked out of formation. That was the part Cole would think about later, lying awake. Rennick walked out of formation without being told, to cross 40 feet of concrete and stopped in front of a woman he had never met in his life. "Ma'am, Sergeant, you mind if I look at that?" She looked at him for the first time. It was not a long look. It was about a second and a half. But Cole was watching her eyes, and he saw them go from his boots to his hands, to his shoulders, to his face, and back down, and he thought she just decided how she'd take you apart if she had to. She did it in a second and a half, and she didn't even know she was doing it. "Yes," Emily said, and she handed it to him. That surprised Cole more than anything else that morning. She just handed it over. Rennick took it. He was expecting weight. He got weight, 14 pounds of it, and the balance point was somewhere he didn't expect, and he almost fumbled it, and that embarrassed him, and everything after that came out of the embarrassment. He held it up over his head. "Boys, this is what's covering us. This right here." The laugh came back louder. "This has been rebuilt more times than my truck. Look at this. Look at this crack right here. You know what happens when a receiver cracks, it comes apart in your hands. That's what happens." He turned to her. "Where'd you get it? Estate sale?" "It was issued to me. Issued to you when 1960, 2011? "Then why does it look like that?" "Because I've used it." Something about the way she said it should have been a warning. It was not loud. It was not proud. It was the tone a mechanic uses when you ask why his hands are dirty. Rennick didn't hear it. He looked at the rifle. He looked at her. He looked at 52 Marines who were watching him and enjoying it, and he threw it. Not hard, that's what he told himself afterward. He didn't wing it. He just sort of let it go underhand so it landed in the dirt at her feet and bounced once and settled with the muzzle in the gravel. The laugh died on impact because there is a line and every man there felt it get crossed, and half of them had a father or a grandfather who would have knocked Rennick down for it. You do not throw another person's weapon in the dirt. Not ever. Not as a joke. Cole started walking. He didn't get there in time. Emily knelt, slowly. She picked up the rifle, tipped the muzzle down, tapped it twice against the heel of her hand to clear the gravel, and pulled her sleeve over her palm and wiped the dust off the stock. Every man watching heard how quiet it was. Then she stood up and looked at Rennick and said, "Do you want to know why I keep it?" Rennick's jaw moved. "Not really." "You should. You're going to be behind me in about 6 hours." "Behind you. That's usually where people are." And she picked up her case and walked toward the tower. Corporal Daniel Brooks, 23 years old from Bakersfield, said out loud what half of them were thinking. "Sarge, that was low." "Shut your mouth, Brooks." "No, that was low. My dad was a gunner. You throw a man's rifle, he's got a right to." "She's not a man." "That's the part you think matters." Cole got there. He didn't raise his voice. He never had to. "Sergeant Rennick, get in the shade and stay there until I come get you." "Sir, I was." "Shade, now." Rennick went. Cole stood there with 52 Marines watching him and understood in that exact second that he had a bigger problem than 30 vehicles in the mountains. He had a unit that had just decided out loud and in the open that the person covering them was a joke, and you cannot ring that bell with an order. Men will obey an order. They will not believe one. He turned around and went to find her. She was already 40 yards away, walking toward the old watchtower on the north side of the range. It was 110 feet of rusted lattice with a metal platform on top that the safety inspectors had condemned 2 years ago. Cole caught up with her at the base of the ladder. "Carter." "Sir, I'm going to say something and I want you to hear it correctly. What happened back there was on me." "No, sir. That was on him. He's mine. So it's mine." She looked at him, and for the first time something moved in her face, just a little, like she was recalculating. "That's a good answer," she said. "Most people don't give that answer. You've heard the other one a lot." "I've heard everyone." Cole let a breath out. "Can I ask you something straight?" "You can ask." "Your file's 4 pages long, 4. I've got privates with thicker files than you. There's no unit history, no deployments, no qualification records past 2010. There's a line that says long-range support specialist and a line that says temporary, and then there's a signature I don't recognize from an office that I'm not cleared to know exists. And now you show up with a rifle that looks like my grandfather brought it home from Korea." He stopped. "So, what am I looking at?" Emily set her case down. She thought about it. He gave her the time. "You're looking at somebody who's here to do one job," she said, "and then leave." "That's not an answer." "No, it isn't." "Carter." "Commander." She said it gently and it landed harder than if she'd snapped. "If I told you my history, you'd change how you use me. Everybody does. They either put me somewhere safe because they're scared of the paperwork, or they put me somewhere stupid because they think I'm a magic trick. I don't want either one. Use me like a tool. Tools don't need a biography. People aren't tools." "That's the nicest thing anybody said to me in 4 years, sir." She picked up the case. "Can I go up now?" Cole stepped aside. She went up the ladder and he watched her go, and he noticed how she climbed. She tested every third rung with her weight before she put her hand on it. She never looked down. And when she got near the top, she stopped and she looked east and then north and then northwest, and she stayed there for maybe 15 seconds, looking at nothing at all, and then she went up the rest of the way. Cole knew what she'd been doing. She was reading the wind by watching the dust on a ridgeline 4 miles away. He went back to the shade and got Rennick. "Sir, before you start." "I'm not going to start. I'm going to tell you one thing and then we're going to work." Cole leaned against the wall. "You've been in 11 years. 12. 12. In 12 years, how many people have you met who could shut down a 50-man laugh by kneeling down and picking something up?" Rennick didn't answer. "Because I've been in 19 and the answer is 2. In the Other one's dead. Cole pushed off the wall. Get your team on the east berm. Convoy's moving. The convoy was moving. By 1100, the drone feed they were borrowing from a unit in Nevada showed them what they were dealing with, and it was worse than the folder said. 30 vehicles was the number in the folder. The number on the screen was 34. 4 of them were technicals with heavy guns mounted in the bed. 2 were trucks that had something under a tarp that Cole did not like the shape of, and they were not driving like smugglers. They were driving like an army, spacing intervals. A lead element out front by 600 meters flankers on the high ground. Somebody had trained them. Sir, that was Lieutenant Marcus Reyes, 29, the only officer Cole had besides himself and the only man on the base who read as much as Cole did. This is a professional formation. I know. Sir, this is a professional formation moving toward an outpost with 52 people in it. I know, Marcus. Where's our air? Cole looked at the radio. The radio had been silent for 2 hours. Ask again in 20 minutes, he said. Reyes lowered his voice. And if it's still nothing, then we're the air. Up in the tower, Emily Carter had not moved in 90 minutes. Brooks brought her water at noon because nobody else would, and because his father raised him right. He came up the ladder with 2 bottles jammed in his cargo pockets, and his heart going because 110 feet of rusted lattice is 110 feet of rusted lattice. She heard him coming. She said without turning around, "Step on the left side of the platform. The right one's got a stress crack." "Yes, ma'am." He stepped left. He handed her a bottle. She took it and set it down and didn't drink it. "You're Brooks." "Yes, ma'am. Corporal Daniel Brooks." "You said something down there." His ears went hot. "I didn't mean to make trouble." "You didn't make trouble. He made trouble. You made it cost him something." She was looking through a spotting scope, and she still hadn't turned around. "That's different. Remember the difference." Brooks stood there a second. Then he said the thing he'd come up to say. "Ma'am, is it true you can hit at 3,000? Now she turned around. She had a face Brooks thought that had gotten tired a long time ago and never got untired. She looked at him for a while. "Where'd you hear 3,000? Everybody's saying it. They're saying it as a joke. They're saying the reason you got sent here is you told somebody you could hit at 3,000 and they wanted to get you out of the building." "Huh," Emily said. "Is it a joke?" She turned back to the scope. "Drink your water, Corporal." Brooks went back down the ladder and told nobody about the conversation. And 40 minutes later, he wished he had because the mocking got worse and he could have stopped some of it. It started at the chow line. It always starts at the chow line. "Hey, is Annie Oakley coming down to eat? Or does she just photosynthesize up there?" "Don't. She might shoot you from Tucson." 3,000 meters, boys. 3,000. You know what's at 3,000 meters yesterday? That's what's at 3,000 meters. Man, the bullet's in the air for 4 seconds. 4 seconds. The guy could walk to lunch. That last one was Rennick, and it got the biggest laugh, and Cole heard it from 30 feet away and let it happen. He would think about that later too, because here is what Cole knew and they didn't. Cole had gone back to his tent at 1300 and pulled up the archive on a terminal he was not supposed to use for personal curiosity. He typed in the serial number he'd read off the side of that rifle when Rennick held it over his head, because Cole had been reading serial numbers off weapons for 19 years, and it was the one useful nervous habit he had. The system took 11 seconds. Then it came back with a red banner across the top of the screen and a request for a clearance code that Cole did have barely, and when he entered it, the screen went white, and then it showed him one line. Weapon assigned. Operation Silent Arrow. Status operation closed. And under that, personnel assigned to Weapon 1. Status classified. Cole sat back in his chair. He knew the name Silent Arrow the way you know a name from a story your uncle told once at a funeral. It was the mission nobody would talk about. 12 people went. Nobody came back. The official report was 4 paragraphs long, and 2 of them were about weather, and this rifle had been there. He typed in one more query. He asked the system who had signed the weapon out. The system said access denied. He asked when it had last been fired. The system said 41 days ago. Cole stared at that. 41 days ago, this rifle that everybody said belonged behind glass had been fired somewhere by somebody in a way that got logged into a classified system, which meant it wasn't retired. It wasn't a memento. It was in service. Right now, today. He got up so fast he knocked the chair over. At 1500 hours, the drone feed cut out. They're jamming, Reyes said. Sir, they're jamming us. They've got EW capability. Who has EW capability? Somebody who trains them, Cole said. Radio. Radio's out too. All of it. Everything past line of sight. Cole looked at the horizon. Nothing out there but heat, shimmer, and rock. Get everybody on the berm, he said. Reyes, I want the 50 on the east corner, and I want the 240 on the west, and I want everybody who can hold a rifle where I can see them, and I want somebody to run up that tower and tell Carter what's happening because her radio's out too. Sir, her radio's not out. What? Her radio's not out, sir? She's on a different set. She's been on it since this morning. Cole turned around slowly. She brought her own radio. Yes, sir. She brought her own radio to an operation where I have to beg for a satellite window. Yes, sir. At 1620, the enemy came into view. Not close, not even remotely close. They stopped on a ridge to the northwest and they parked, and it took Cole a second to understand what he was seeing, and then it made him sick. They weren't attacking, they were setting up. They were going to sit out there at a distance nothing at this outpost could reach, and they were going to put those tarps up and set up whatever was under them, and they were going to do it in daylight in the open where 52 Marines could watch because they had done the math, and the math said nobody here could touch them. Range, Cole said. Reyes had the laser. Sir. Range Marcus. 2,940 meters. Somebody on the berm said, oh. Just that. Just oh. Because every Marine on that line had spent the whole day laughing about a number, and the number had just walked up and sat down on the ridge in front of them. Rennick stood up out of his firing position. He had gone gray under the sunburn. Sir, he said, sir, what's the max on the 50? You know what the max is. Sir, what's the max on the 50? 1,800, Cole said. You know that. Sit down. Rennick did not sit down. He turned around and he looked up at the tower, 110 feet of condemned rusted lattice with one small woman on top of it, and the whole line watched him do it. Then the radio in Cole's hand crackled. It shouldn't have. Everything was jammed, but Cole's handset, the one he'd left on the wrong channel because he'd been in a hurry, popped once, and then a voice came through it flat and calm and a little bored. Cole, this is Carter. Do you read? Cole got the handset up to his mouth. Send it. They're setting up 2 mortars and a command element. The command element's the third vehicle from the left, the white one. He's the only guy out there who isn't wearing what everybody else is wearing. He's got a map board. He's the reason those 34 vehicles drive like they know what they're doing. Cole looked through his binoculars. It took him 20 seconds to find the white vehicle. It took him another 10 to find the man with the map board. I see him. He's going to give an order in about 4 minutes, and then that outpost is going to be a hole in the ground. I'm aware. I need you to make a decision, sir. Say it. I need you to tell your Marines to stop watching me and start watching the low ground on the east, because there's a flanking element down there that nobody's called out. 12 dismounts. They've been moving for an hour. If I do my job and everybody's staring at the ridge, those 12 are going to walk right into your rear. Cole's blood went cold. Reyes, he said. East, low ground, now. Sir, there's nothing. Reyes. Reyes swung his glasses east. Cole watched his face. He watched it change. Oh my God, Reyes said. Sir, there's 12. There's 12 men in the wash. Sir. How did she? Because she's been looking at it since 6 this morning, Cole said. Move. He got the handset back up. Carter. Sir. Target confirmed. Target confirmed. Rennick was standing right there. He heard it. His mouth was open. From where, he said, out loud. To nobody. From where? And the radio, which was still keyed, which the whole berm could hear because Cole had the volume all the way up, answered him. 3,000 meters. Nobody laughed. That was the thing Cole remembered forever. All day, every single time, somebody had laughed. And now 52 Marines heard the number out loud with the target sitting right there in front of them, and not one man made a sound. Carter, Cole said, you have wind. I have wind. You have a full value crosswind at 9 miles an hour, and you're shooting through 3 different air columns, and your scope is scratched. Yes, sir. Carter, I'm asking you straight, not for the record. Can you make it? There was a pause on the radio. 2 seconds, maybe 3. I made it once before, Emily said. It cost me 12 people, so I'd rather not talk about it, and I'd rather just do it. Do I have permission to fire? Cole looked at the white vehicle. He looked at the man with the map board. He looked at the mortar crews dropping their base plates when in. He looked at 52 Marines who were all looking at him. Weapons free, he said, and nothing happened. That was the part nobody was ready for. Nothing happened. 4 seconds went by. 6. 10. Rennick made a small noise like he was about to say something, and Brooks put a hand on his arm and said, "Don't." 15 seconds. 20. She was breathing. That's what Cole realized standing on that berm with his heart going like a hammer. She was up there breathing. She was letting her pulse come down. 22 seconds of a man with a map board about to give an order that would end them, and she was sitting up there in a condemned tower doing the one thing that nobody in the whole outpost had the discipline to do, which was wait. At 26 seconds, the old rifle fired. They heard it after they saw it. That's how far away she was up on that tower, and it still wasn't the strangest part. The strangest part was that the sound was small. It wasn't a boom. It was a flat crack like a board breaking in the next room, and then it was gone in the wind. 4 full seconds of nothing. 4 seconds is a very long time. Long enough for Rennick to open his mouth. Long enough for Reyes to start to say, "Sir." Long enough for one man on the east side to start laughing, actually start to laugh out of pure nerves, the sound just starting to come out of him. Then the man with the map board went down. He didn't stagger. He didn't stumble. He was standing, and then he was on the ground, and he did not move again. And 3,000 meters away, 52 Marines watched an entire hostile formation stop moving all at once, like somebody had pulled a plug out of a wall. The laugh died in that man's throat, and he made a strangled sound instead. Cole lowered his binoculars very slowly. He was aware that his hands were shaking. He was aware that his mouth was dry. He was aware in a distant sort of way that he was going to have to write a report about this, and that there was no version of the report that anybody would believe. But mostly what he was aware of was this. That rifle was not junk. That scratched, cracked, spliced, rebuilt, sanded, laughed at piece of metal, and wood was the only reason any of them were going to see tomorrow, and it had been sitting in the dirt at 9 o'clock this morning because a sergeant thought he was funny. Rennick turned around. He looked at the tower. Then he looked at Cole. And Cole watched 12 years of a man's certainty fall off him in one piece. "Sir," Rennick said. His voice had nothing in it. "Sir, who is she?" Cole opened his mouth, and the radio crackled again, and Emily Carter's voice came through it, and it wasn't calm anymore. It was fast, and it was low, and for the first time all day, it had something in it that sounded almost like fear. Cole, listen to me. They didn't come here for the outpost." "Say again." "They didn't come here for the outpost. They knew I'd be here. That formation, the spacing, the EW, the flankers, that's not a raid. That's a trap, and they just spent 34 vehicles and a commander to find out one thing." Her breathing was in the radio now. "They wanted to know if the shot was real." Cole stared at the ridge. Down on the ridge, the hostile vehicles were not retreating. They were turning, all 34 of them, turning toward the tower. "Carter, to get down from there." "Sir." "Carter, get down. That's an order." "Sir, there's a man down there in the second vehicle who's been watching me through a spotting scope for the last 40 minutes. "Carter." "I know his face," she said. "I buried him 4 years ago, 1629. Cole did not answer her because there was no answer to that sentence. "Carter, say again." "I said I know his face." "Say the second part again." "I buried him 4 years ago," Emily said. "Second vehicle left side of the ridge. He's got a spotting scope and a radio, and he's wearing a watch on his right wrist, which means he's left-handed, which means he's my sergeant, because my sergeant was left-handed, and he was the only man in that unit who wore his watch on the wrong side. And I told him 100 times it made him easy to identify, and he laughed at me every single time." Carter. His name was Ellis Ward. He died on the 14th of October 4 years ago. And I know that because I was there, and I know that because I saw it, and I know that because I have been carrying it every day since. Then it's not him. Then who's wearing his watch, sir? Cole took the binoculars back up. He found the second vehicle. He found the man. He was too far away to be a face. He was a shape and a color and a shining off a lens. but the shine off the lens was pointed at the tower and it had not moved in a long time. And Cole understood that there was a man 3,000 meters away who had been staring at Emily Carter for 40 minutes without blinking, and that man had not been staring at a sniper. He had been staring at a person he recognized. "Carter, get off that tower." "Sir, that's an order, Carter. That's a lawful order from your commanding officer. Get down the ladder." "Sir, if I get down the ladder in 11 minutes, those 34 vehicles are inside your wire, and you have 52 people in a 50 caliber that reaches 1,800 meters, and I am the only thing on this base that touches them at 3,000. You know that? You've known it since 11 o'clock this morning." "I know it." "Then don't say it again," she said, "because you'll say it a third time, and I'll have to disobey you a third time, and it's embarrassing for both of us." 1631. Cole turned around. 52 Marines were looking at him. Not at the ridge, at him, and that was the moment Cole understood something that 19 years in a folder full of schools had never quite taught him, which was that a unit does not decide to fight when the officer gives the order. It decides earlier. It decides in the 4 seconds after something happens, and whatever it decides in those 4 seconds is what it will be for the rest of the day. They had just watched a woman they laughed at do something none of them believed was possible. Now they were waiting to see what he did about it. "Reyes." "Sir?" "Those 12 in the wash. Brooks has eyes on them. They stopped. They went flat when the shot went off. They're not flanking anymore." "Sir, I think they're scared." "Good," Cole said. "Scared men make noise. Put 4 Marines on that wash, and I want them to make so much noise. Those 12 think there's 40. I don't want them dead. I want them pinned. I want them useless." "Yes, sir." "Rennick." Rennick was still looking at the tower. He hadn't moved. It took him a second to turn his head, and when he did, his face was wrong, and Cole had seen that face before on men who had just found out the world was not the shape they'd been told. "Sir, you're on the 50. "Sir, the 50 won't. I know what the 50 won't do. I'm not asking it to reach the ridge. I'm asking it to reach anything that comes off the ridge. And it will come off the ridge, Sergeant, because they're turning right now. So you're going to sit behind that gun, and you're going to do your job, and we are going to talk about this morning later." "Understood." Rennick swallowed. "Sir, I need to say something." "Later." "Sir, it'll take 4 seconds." Cole almost said no. He would think about that later too. He almost said no, and if he had everything after, would have gone differently. 4 seconds. "I threw her rifle in the dirt," Rennick said. "I know. I was there." "No, sir, you don't understand what I'm saying." Rennick's jaw was working. "I threw the only weapon on this base that can save us into the dirt, and I did it in front of 50 men, and I did it because she was small and she was quiet, and I wanted them to laugh." He stopped. "I've been doing this 12 years, sir. 12 years. And this morning I was the dumbest man on this range, and everybody watched me be it." "Sergeant." "Sir." "Get on the gun." Rennick got on the gun. 1634. Up in the tower, Emily Carter was not thinking about Ellis Ward. That was a lie she was telling herself, and she knew it while she was telling it, which is the worst kind, and she pushed it down the way she had pushed 1,000 things down and settled her cheek back onto a stalk. Her hands knew better than her own face. "Cole, send it. Lead vehicles rolling, 400-meter head start on the rest of them. They're not coming as a formation, they're coming as a wave, which means somebody down there is improvising, which means the man I shot really was the one giving orders. That's good news." "What's the bad news?" "The man with the watch just got out of the second vehicle and started walking." "Walking where?" "Toward me, on foot, in the open, at 3,000 meters." Cole put the glasses up. The man was walking. He was not running. He was not zigzagging. He was walking straight down the face of the ridge, in the open with a spotting scope in his hand and a rifle slung across his back. And every man on that berm who had ever been shot at understood exactly what they were looking at, and it made the hair stand up on their arms. He was daring her. "Carter, he's daring you." "I'm aware." "He's daring you because he wants you to fire. Because when you fire, he gets a muzzle flash. And when he gets a muzzle flash, he can put every heavy gun on that ridge on your tower." "I'm aware, sir." "So don't fire." "I wasn't going to." "Carter." "Sir, I'm not the one who's going to break." He is. He always breaks first. A pause. He never could sit still. 4 years and he still can't sit still. 1636. Brooks came up the ladder. He came up fast and loud, and he did not stop at the left side of the platform. He came all the way up onto it, and Emily heard him and said without moving, "Corporal, go back down." "Ma'am, go back down. If they range this tower, everybody on it dies, and there's no reason for that to be 2 people instead of 1. "Ma'am, Commander Cole sent me." "He didn't." Brooks was quiet. "He didn't send you," Emily said. "You came up on your own and you're going to say he sent you because you think I'll let you stay. Corporal, I have been lied to by better liars than you, and I wasn't even good at my job yet. Go down." "No, ma'am." She took her eye off the scope. She looked at him. Ann Brooks, who was 23 years old and from Bakersfield, and had a little brother named Mikey who was 14, and thought the sun rose because Daniel Brooks was in the Marines, stood there on a condemned platform 110 feet in the air and did not move. Why, Emily said. "Because you're calling the whole fight, ma'am. You're calling targets and wind and the wash and everything else. And you're doing it while you're shooting, and nobody can do both. My dad was a gunner. He said the man behind the guns only got 1 head, so I'm the 2nd head. You're going to get killed. Ma'am, there's 400 guys coming at 52 of us. I'm going to get killed on the tower, or I'm going to get killed on the berm." He shrugged, and it was a terrible, honest 23-year-old shrug. "I'd rather be useful." Emily looked at him for another second. Then she said, "Get the spotting scope. Don't touch the tripod, the leg's bent. It'll walk on you. Lie down on the left side of the platform. When I say a number, you repeat the number. Don't say anything else. Don't tell me you're sorry. Don't tell me good shot. Don't tell me anything. Just repeat the number." "Yes, ma'am." "And Brooks, ma'am, if I tell you to go down the ladder, you go down the ladder, and you don't ask me why, and you don't look back. Because if I say it, it'll be because we have about 11 seconds, and I'm going to spend mine differently than you're going to spend yours." Brooks got down on the left side of the platform. 1638. The lead vehicle hit 2,000 meters. "Cole, send it. Lead technical, 2,000 closing at 40. The gunner's standing up in the bed. He's tall. He's going to be the one who opens up, and once he opens up, everybody behind him opens up, and then your Marines are eating 14.5 millimeter for the next hour. Can you take him? I can take him, and the second I do, everybody on that ridge knows where I am. So what do you want to do?" There was a pause. 2 seconds. Brooks watched her face and saw absolutely nothing move on it. "I want you to lie to them," Emily said. "Say again." "Sir, is there anything on that base that makes a flash?" Cole's brain caught up half a second later, and he actually laughed one short, ugly bark of a laugh, and Reyes turned around and looked at him like he'd lost it. "Reyes." "Sir." "Old fuel drums, south side. Are they still there?" "Sir, there's like 9 of them." "Get 4 men and put them on the roof of the south building. All 4 of them. Put a drum up there. Put anything up there. I want fire, I want smoke, I want light, and I want it at 1700 exactly, and I want it to look like the worst kept secret in Arizona." Reyes stared at him. "Sir, you want me to build a fake sniper position?" "I want you to build 4 fake sniper positions, and I want them to be terrible," Cole said. "I want them so bad that a professional looks at them and thinks that's what an amateur thinks a sniper hide looks like. Because there's a man out there who knows what a real one looks like, and he's going to look at all 4 of those and know they're fake, and then he's going to feel very smart, and a man who feels smart stops looking." Reyes went. 1641. "Cole, this is Carter. Was that your idea or mine?" "Does it matter?" "No," she said. "It's a good one either way. Sir, one more thing. When the drums go, I need every Marine on that berm to fire. All of them. At nothing. At the sky, at the dirt, I don't care. 30 seconds of the loudest, stupidest, most undisciplined volume you have ever heard in your life." "Why?" "Because right now they think there's 1 shooter and 50 scared boys. I want them to think there's 50 shooters and 1 lucky shot." She breathed out. "Sir, that's what my rifle is. It's an ugly old thing that people underestimate. So let's make your whole outpost an ugly old thing that people underestimate." Cole keyed the handset. "Marines, on my mark. Everybody fires. Everybody. I don't care what you're holding. I don't care where you're pointed. 30 seconds. Rennick on the 50 said, "Sir, that's a waste of." Rennick, "Yes, sir." 1643. 1700 was 19 minutes away, and the lead technical was at 1700 meters. "Sir, we don't have 19 minutes, Reyes said. "Sir, that gunner's going to open up in about 90 seconds. Cole looked at the tower. "Carter." I heard him. "Do you have a better idea?" "Yes," she said. "Brooks." "Ma'am." 1740 meters full value from the left 9 gusting 11. 1740 full value left 9 gusting 11. "Good boy," she said, and she fired. It was not 4 seconds this time. It was closer to 2.5, and the tall gunner in the bed of the lead technical was reaching for his weapon's charging handle. And then he wasn't reaching for anything, and the technical swerved and hit a rock and rolled onto its side, and the whole ridge behind it opened fire on the south building. Every gun, every one. The south building came apart. Cinder block turned into gravel and dust and noise, and 40 seconds later, there was nothing left of it but a wall and a smell, and there had not been one single human being inside it because Reyes had pulled his 4 men off the roof 90 seconds earlier when he saw the technical coming. Cole stood on the berm and watched 400 hostile AO fighters spend 4,000 rounds on an empty building. "Reyes." "Sir." "They shot the fake." "Sir, we didn't even build the fake yet." "They shot the place where the fake was going to be." Cole started laughing again, and it was not a healthy sound. "Marcus, they have got a thermal on that ridge, and they watched your 4 guys walk onto that roof, and they decided that's where she was, and they emptied on it." Reyes went white. "Sir, my 4 guys were on that roof 40 seconds ago." "I know." "Sir, if you hadn't." "I know, Marcus." 1646. Cole, Carter. "Send it." That was them being stupid, and they will not be stupid again because the man with the watch just stopped walking, and he's on his radio, and he is currently explaining to 400 people exactly how badly they just embarrassed themselves. She paused. "Sir, he's good. He was always good. I taught him. You taught him. For 2 years. Carter, I need you to tell me right now what I'm dealing with, because I've got 52 people, and I am done being told to just use you like a tool." There was a long silence on the radio. Brooks, 6 feet away from her on the platform, watched her close her eyes, just for a second, and he would remember it the rest of his life, because in that second, she stopped looking like a legend and started looking like somebody's tired aunt at the end of a bad week. "Operation Silent Arrow," Emily said. Cole's stomach dropped. "I know the name." "Everybody knows the name. Nobody knows the mission." Her voice was flat. 12 of us went. I was in charge. Ellis Ward was my sergeant. We had a target, and we had 4 days, and on the 3rd day, somebody told them we were coming. Somebody. Somebody, sir? That's the whole story. Somebody. 11 of my people died in about 6 minutes, and I made a shot at 3,000 and change. And it didn't matter because the shot was never the point. The shot was the thing they wanted to see. They wanted to know if the program was real. Her voice didn't change at all, which was somehow worse. So I made it real for them, and then I sat in a hole for 11 hours with my sergeant's body, and I carried him out, sir. I carried him out. I put him in a bag, I signed a form. Somebody handed me a folded flag at a service in Virginia, and his mother hugged me and told me it wasn't my fault. Carter. And there is a man walking down that ridge right now wearing his watch, 1649. Cole was aware that his hands had gone numb. Carter, there's an explanation for that. Bodies get. Sir, don't. There's an explanation. I know there's an explanation, sir. I've had 4 years to think of every explanation there is, and I have got exactly 2 left. Her breathing came through the handset. Either somebody dug him up, or I buried the wrong man. Rennick on the 50 turned his head. Reyes on the east berm stopped moving. And Cole, standing on a pile of dirt in Arizona with 52 people behind him, understood that the operation he had been handed at 0200 with 3 stamps and no useful information had never been an operation at all. Carter, he said, who sent you here? A signature. Whose signature? I don't know, sir. It came through the same office it always comes through. Long-range support specialist. Temporary. 4 pages. A pause. Sir, do you want to know the part that's been bothering me since 6 this morning? Say it. Your convoy came from the northwest. There's nothing northwest of here. There's no border, there's no target, there's no reason. 34 vehicles crossed 200 miles of empty American desert with electronic warfare capability and a professional command element, and nobody stopped them, and nobody saw them, and the only thing at the end of that 200 miles is a condemned training range with 52 Marines on it. Cole's mouth went dry. And me, Emily said, the only thing at the end of that 200 miles is 52 Marines who don't matter and one person who does. Carter. Sir, they didn't find me here. They were told where I'd be. 1652. Nobody said anything for 4 seconds. Then Rennick, in a voice that did not sound like Rennick at all, said, Sir, are you telling me somebody sent her here to get her killed and we're the bait? Sergeant. Sir, are you telling me a United States Marine unit got put on a map as bait? Sergeant Rennick, get on the gun. Sir, I am on the gun. I've been on the gun. I'm asking you a question. And Cole, who had spent 19 years learning exactly how to not answer that question, looked at him and said, yes. The berm went silent. Yes, Cole said again louder, so all of them heard it. That's what I think. I think somebody put a woman with an empty file on a range that got closed 2 years ago with 52 Marines who nobody's going to miss for 72 hours. And I think they cut our air. And I think the reason the radio's been dead since 1500 is not jamming because you can't jam a satellite window that was never scheduled. He was shouting now. I think we are not on anybody's calendar. I think we are a hole in a spreadsheet. And I think the only reason we are still breathing is that a sergeant threw her rifle in the dirt this morning and she picked it up anyway. Nobody moved. Then Brooks's voice came over Emily's radio, small and clear, and carrying to every man on that berm. Ma'am, 1653, second waves rolling. 1653. They came in 3 groups, this time spread wide using the terrain, and the man with the watch was not walking in the open anymore. He was gone. He had simply stopped being visible the way a professional does, and Emily felt him out there, the way you feel a hand about to touch your shoulder. Brooks. Ma'am, 2200 technical right group, the one with the tarp still on it. 2200 right group tarp. She fired. The tarp vehicle stopped and did not start again. Cole, that was a mortar. There's one more. Where? Oh, I don't know. Carter, that's the first time you've said that all day. I know, sir. I don't like it either. 1655. Ma'am, Brooks's voice was different. Ma'am, the wash. What about the wash? The 12, they're up. They're moving again. Cole, your 12 are moving. Reyes has them pinned. Sir, they're not pinned, they're walking, and men don't stand up under fire unless somebody they're more afraid of told them to. She was tracking with the scope. Sir, they're not going for the berm, they're going for the tower. How far? 600 meters. Carter, get down. Sir, if I go down that ladder, the ridge kills your outpost in 10 minutes. If I stay up here, the 12 kill me in 6, so I need somebody to solve the 12. Cole turned around. He looked at 52 Marines, and Sergeant Vic Rennick stood up off the 50 caliber before Cole opened his mouth. Sir, I'll go. Rennick. Sir, I'll take 8 and I'll go and I'll solve the 12. Rennick, they've got the low ground and they've got cover and they've got numbers and you'd be crossing 400 meters of nothing. Sir, I know. So why? And Rennick said in front of everybody, because I threw her rifle in the dirt. Nobody laughed. Nobody moved. Sir, permission to go. Cole looked at him for 1 full second. Take 12, he said, not 8. Take 12 and take the 240 and go through the drainage on the south side and come at them from behind in Rennick. Sir, come back. 1658. Carter, Rennick's moving on the 12. Rennick. The sergeant. There was a pause. Cole does. He know he probably doesn't come back from that. He knows. Then why? Cole keyed the handset and he said, because you knelt down and picked it up. Silence on the radio. Then Brooks, who was 6 feet away, saw something happen to Emily Carter's face that he could not have described to anybody, and he did not try, not that night and not ever. Brooks, she said, 1400 left of the wash. There's a man on a knee with binoculars, and he's the one calling the 12. Give me the number. 1400 left of the wash, she fired. The man on his knees stopped calling anything. Cole, tell Rennick the 12 just went blind. 1700 hours. That was the exact minute it fell apart. The second mortar, the one she couldn't find, dropped its first round 200 meters short of the berm, and in its second round 80 meters short, and its third round on top of the east berm, and Cole heard Reyes screaming for a corpsman. Reyes, sir, I've got 3 down, I've got Delgado bad, sir, I've got. Carter, find that mortar. I'm looking. Carter, sir, I am looking, and it's not on the ridge, and it's not in the wash, and there is nowhere else for it to be. Fourth round, fifth, the berm was coming apart. Ma'am, Brooks's voice cracked. Ma'am, the smoke. What? The smoke from the south building, ma'am, it's going the wrong way. Emily Carter's head came up off the stock. 3 seconds. Oh, she said. Ma'am, Cole, send it. Sir, the wind changed at 1650, and I didn't notice because I've been shooting the same corrections for an hour and I'm exhausted, and I made a mistake. Her voice was moving fast now, very fast. Sir, that mortar's not out there. It's east. It's behind us. It's inside 2,000 meters on our own ground, and the reason I can't find it is I've been looking away from it all day. And the reason I've been looking away from it all day is that the man with the watch knows exactly which direction I look. Cole spun east. There was nothing east. There had never been anything east. It was flat brown American, nothing all the way to a rise about 1,800 meters out that everybody had glassed 9 times and dismissed. Reyes east, 1,800. Reyes had the laser. Reyes was bleeding from the side of his face, and he had the laser. Sir, his voice went strange. Sir, there's a vehicle. Sir, there's been a vehicle sitting on that rise since this morning. Sir, it's ours. Say again. Sir, it's a U.S. vehicle. It's got our markings. It's been sitting there since before I got up. Silence. Then Emily said very quietly, of course it has. 17, IEO03. Carter. Sir, Carter, is that vehicle? Sir, that's how they got 200 miles across American desert without anybody stopping them, Emily said, because somebody drove out ahead of them and told everybody it was an exercise. Cole's hands were shaking. Carter, can you reach 1,800 east? Sir, I can reach 1,800 east in my sleep. Then do it. Sir, she stopped. Sir, that's a U.S. vehicle. I'm aware. Sir, I need you to say it on the radio where everybody hears it, because in about 4 hours, somebody in an office is going to ask who gave the order to fire on an American vehicle, and I have been the person in the hole for 4 years, sir, and I'm not doing it again. Cole looked at the berm. 3 men down. Reyes bleeding. Rennick and 12 Marines crawling through a drainage ditch 400 meters out. 52 people. 19 years. He keyed the handset and he made sure his thumb was all the way down. This is Commander Nathan Cole, and every man on this net is my witness. I am ordering fire on a vehicle displaying United States markings at 1,800 meters east of this position because that vehicle is directing indirect fire onto my Marines. The order is mine. The responsibility is mine. Carter, you are cleared hot. Copy, sir. And Carter. Sir. Thank you. 1704. Brooks. Ma'am. 1,820 east dead calm. Now the wind died with the smoke. 1820 east dead calm. She fired. The mortar stopped. Just stopped mid-tube, and there was no 6th round and no 7th round, and the whole east side of the outpost held its breath for 10 full seconds, waiting for something that never came. Then Reyes started laughing and crying at the same time, which is a thing that happens and nobody talks about. Cole, this is Carter. Mortar's down. There were 4 men on it, and one of them was wearing our uniform, and I want that in the log, sir. I want that in the log tonight in your handwriting before anybody from anywhere shows up here and tells us what we saw. It's in the log. Sir, write it down now. Carter, I'm a little busy. Sir, write it down now because in my experience, the people who come afterward are worse than the people who came today. 1706. Rennick's voice came over the net, ragged, breathing hard. 6, this is Rennick. Wash is clear. We got 7 of them, 5 ran, we're not chasing. I've got 1 wounded, it's Tavares, it's his leg, he's walking. Sir, we're coming back in. Cole closed his eyes. Copy Rennick. Good work. Sir. Rennick was still breathing hard. Sir, put me through to the tower. Sergeant now's not. Sir, please. Cole handed the net over. Carter, this is Rennick. Go ahead. I got 12 years in and I have never in my life said this to anybody, so I'm going to say it once and then I'm never saying it again. A breath. Ma'am, that shot on the guy with the binoculars saved my whole element. All 12. He was calling us and he stopped calling us, and that's why we're walking back instead of getting carried. So I'm sorry about your rifle, ma'am. And Emily Carter, 3,000 meters from a ridge full of people who wanted her dead, 110 feet up a condemned tower with a scratched scope and a cracked receiver, and a corporal from Bakersfield lying 6 feet away from her, keyed her radio and said, Sergeant, if you'd handed it to me nice this morning, none of them would have thought it was junk. And they needed to think it was junk. Rennick was quiet for a second. Ma'am, are you telling me I helped? Sergeant, you were the best thing that happened to me all day. Somebody on the berm laughed, and then somebody else. And then all of them, a whole outpost of exhausted, dust-covered, bleeding American Marines laughing on a dirt pile in Arizona, while 32 hostile vehicles sat on a ridge 3,000 meters away, deciding what to do next. 1709. The ridge decided. Cole, send it. They're pulling back. Say again. Ridge is pulling back, all of them. They're going north over the crest. They're leaving. That's good news. No, sir. Carter, 32 vehicles just left. That's good news. Sir, they didn't lose, Emily said. They didn't come close to losing. They've still got 400 people and 18 heavy guns, and you have 52 people and 3 casualties and a berm made out of dirt. They could roll this base in an hour and take the losses and not care. She paused. Nobody leaves when they're winning, sir, unless they got what they came for. Cole felt the cold come back. And what did they come for? They came to see the shot. 1711. Carter, get down from there. Yes, sir. Say again. I said, yes, sir, Emily said, and she sounded 100 years old. I'm coming down. Brooks is coming down first. Ma'am, I'll go behind you. Corporal, you go first. Ma'am, Daniel. It was the first time she had used his first name, and it stopped him cold. You've got a brother named Mikey who's 14. You told me that 4 hours ago while you were pretending you weren't scared. Go down the ladder. Brooks went down the ladder. He was 20 rungs from the bottom when the shot came. It came from a long way off from somewhere north, from a place nobody was looking at anymore. And it hit the tower platform 7 inches from where Emily Carter's head had been 1 second earlier. And the only reason it missed was that she had shifted her weight to stand up. Brooks screamed her name. The whole berm turned. And Emily Carter, flat on the platform with her ear ringing and hot metal in her cheek, keyed the radio and said one sentence in a voice that Nathan Cole would hear in his sleep for the rest of his life. Sir, that shot came from 3,100 meters. There's one other person alive who can make that shot. 1712. Nobody on that berm breathed. Carter. Cole's voice cracked on the first syllable and he hated it. Carter, report. Nothing. Carter, report. Brooks was already going back up. He didn't decide to. His hands were on the rungs before his brain caught up, and Reyes was shouting at him from below, with half his face wrapped in gauze, shouting, Stop, stop! Brooks, get off the ladder, and Brooks did not stop. Carter, this is Cole, report. The radio popped. I'm here. 52 men let go of a breath at the same time, and it made a sound like wind. How bad? It's my cheek. It's metal, not bullet. The platform came apart, and it went in sideways. Her voice was tight in a way it had not been all day. Sir, listen to me very carefully because I've got maybe 40 seconds before he adjusts. Say it. 3,100 meters north elevated, and he had a full view of me from a position I glassed at 6 this morning and cleared. I cleared it, sir. I looked right at it and I said, nothing's there, and I moved on and he was already in it. He was in it before I arrived. Carter. He got there first, she said. He knew which tower I'd pick. 1713, Brooks came over the edge of the platform on his belly. She didn't look at him. She was moving low, dragging the rifle by the sling, and there was blood on the left side of her face from the ear down, and she was not doing anything about it. Ma'am, I told you to go down. Yes, ma'am. You went down, then you came back. Yes, ma'am. That's the same thing as not going down. No, ma'am, Brooks said, and his voice was shaking, and he did not care. It's worse, because now I've done it twice and you can't act surprised. She stopped moving, and then, God help her, she laughed. One breath of it, it hurt her face, and she did it anyway. Get flat, left side. Don't put your head over the edge. He's got the edge zeroed. How do you know? Because that's where I'd zero it. 1714. Cole Carter, send it. Sir, I need you to get everybody off the berm. Carter, the ridge is gone. They left. Sir, the ridge left because their job was done. Their job was to make me shoot 4 times so a man on a hill 3,000 meters north could watch me do it and learn my rhythm. Her breathing came fast through the handset. Every shot I fired today was a lesson, sir. I taught a class. I taught it to somebody who already went to school on me for 2 years. Cole put his hand on the back of his neck and squeezed until it hurt. Carter, say the name. Sir, say it out loud on the net, because I've got 52 people who just watched a tower get hit and they deserve to know what's hunting them. There was a pause that lasted long enough for Rennick limping in through the south gate with 12 exhausted Marines behind him to stop walking. Ellis Ward, Emily said. You said you buried him. I said I buried somebody, 1715. Ma'am, Brooks's voice was small. Ma'am, I don't understand. You want the whole thing, Corporal? I want to know who's shooting at us. Then here's the whole thing, and I'm going to say it once, and then we're going to work. She was pulling the bolt, checking it, seating it, and her hands never stopped even once. 12 of us went. 11 died on the 3rd day. On the 4th day, I found Ellis face down in a wadi with his plate carrier torn open and the back of his head gone, and I put him in a bag myself and I zipped it. And I carried 190 pounds of him 4 kilometers to an extraction point. Because that is what you do, Corporal. You do not leave your sergeant in a hole in a country he can't pronounce. Ma'am, and I never looked at his face, Emily said, because there wasn't one. The radio hissed. Sir, do you understand what I'm telling you? I identified my sergeant by his gear, his carrier, his boots, his watch on the wrong wrist. And a man who wanted to disappear would know exactly what I'd look for because he watched me look for it 11 other times that week. Cole sat down on the berm. He didn't mean to. His legs just did it. He set it up. He handed me a body and let me carry it out and let me hand a flag to a woman in Virginia and let me spend 4 years believing I got him killed. Her voice finally moved. It went somewhere ugly. Sir, I sat in that hole for 11 hours holding what I thought was him. I talked to him. Do you understand? I talked to a bag for 11 hours. Nobody on that net said one word. And then somebody told them we were coming, she said. And I have spent 4 years trying to figure out who, and I was carrying the answer on my back. 1717. Sir, Ray is quiet. Sir, if Ward's alive, then the leak. I know, Marcus. Sir, if Ward's alive, then that's not an enemy sniper on that hill. That's a U.S. trained operator who's been feeding somebody for 4 years and got promoted while he did it. I know. Sir, that means the vehicle on the East Rise wasn't stolen. Cole closed his eyes. I know, Marcus. 1718. The second shot came. It hit the ladder, not the platform. The ladder 40 feet down, and it snapped a rung clean, and the whole tower rang like a struck pipe, and Brooks put his hands over his head and swore in a voice an octave higher than his own. Ma'am, he missed. He didn't miss. Ma'am, he hit a ladder. Corporal, he hit the ladder, Emily said. Think about what that means for 5 seconds, and then tell me if he missed. Brooks thought about it for 2. Then his face went gray. He's not trying to kill you. No. He's trying to keep you up here. There it is, she said. Cole's voice came over the net, and it had gone hard in a way none of them had heard yet. Carter, why does he want you up there? Sir, what's the only thing on this base I can't cover from the tower? What? The tower, Emily said. I can see 3 miles of American desert in every direction, and I cannot see the bottom of my own ladder. 1719. Reyes. Cole was on his feet and moving. The base of the tower now, everybody go. 22 Marines ran 400 meters across open ground, and they were 40 meters short when the 5 men who had been lying in a drainage culvert since before sunrise stood up. Not enemy fighters, not technicals. 5 men in the wrong pattern with the right gear, and one of them shouted in English in an American accent, "Friendly, friendly, stand down, we're friendly, we're on your side." And 22 Marines stopped, because that is what you are trained to do. That is the correct thing to do. That is what a good Marine does when a man in the desert shouts friendly in a Kansas accent. Rennick did not stop. Rennick had been in 12 years. Rennick had thrown a rifle in the dirt this morning because he thought he could read a person in 4 seconds, and Rennick had spent the entire day learning exactly how expensive that habit was, and something in him had come loose, and it had not gone back. "Hands!" Rennick screamed. "Hands, hands, get your hands off that bag!" "Sergeant, stand down where?" "You got a bag. Why do you got a bag?" He was 7 meters away when the man reached into it. 17:20. Cole heard the burst from 300 meters, and he heard the screaming after, and he could not tell whose it was, and it was the longest 9 seconds of his life. Reyes report. "Sir." Reyes was running. "Sir, 5 hostiles at the tower base. They're down all 5. Rennick got 3, Sir Rennick's." Reyes say it. "Sir Rennick's hit." Up on the platform, Emily Carter put her forehead on the metal for 1 second. 1. Then she picked her head up. "Brooks." "Ma'am?" "Spotting scope, north. Find me a man." "Ma'am, you're bleeding, you can't." "Corporal, north. Find me a man." 17:22. "Sir, this is Carter." "Go." "Sir, what was in the bag?" "Carter, I've got a man down." "Sir, what was in the bag?" Reyes answered because Cole couldn't. Reyes was on his knees at the tower base with his hands inside Vic Rennick's side, and he answered anyway because Marcus Reyes was 29 years old, and he had figured out somewhere in the last hour that this was not a battle, it was an autopsy, and everybody was in it. "Ma'am, it's a demo charge. It's a shaped charge with a timer on it, and there's 4 more in the culvert." "For the tower." "Ma'am, yes. They were going to drop the tower." "With me on it?" "Ma'am, yes." "Reyes." Her voice had nothing left in it. "Reyes, listen to me. Look at the timer. What's it set for?" There was a pause. "Ma'am," Reyes's voice went funny. "Ma'am, it's set for 1800. "That's 40 minutes. "Yes, ma'am." "That's not an attack," Emily said. "That's a schedule." 17:23. Cole reached the tower base and dropped to his knees in the dirt next to a man he had been ready to relieve 9 hours ago. Rennick was gray, his hand was on Reyes's wrist, and it was not gripping, it was just resting there, and that scared Cole worse than the blood. "Sir." "Don't talk." "Sir, I gotta." "Rennick, shut up, that's an order." "Sir, they said friendly." Rennick's eyes were going somewhere. "They said friendly, and my guys stopped, but my guys stopped because they're good Marines." "Sir, that's not on them." "Nobody said it was." "Sir, it's on me, I should have." He coughed. It was a bad cough. "Sir, I stopped this morning too. Somebody handed me something and I looked at it for 4 seconds and I decided what it was." "Sergeant?" "I keep doing that, sir." Cole put his hand flat on Rennick's chest and held it there. "Vic," he said, "look at me. You're the reason there's 22 Marines standing here instead of a crater. You ran when everybody stopped. You hear me? You ran when everybody stopped." Rennick's mouth moved. "Sir, tell her. Tell her yourself." "Sir, I ain't got the wind for it." Cole keyed the handset and held it down by Rennick's mouth and said, "Carter, Rennick's got something." The radio hissed, and Vic Rennick, 311 pounds of certainty reduced to about 190 pounds of scared, said, "Ma'am, it was heavy." A pause on the net. "Say again, Sergeant." "Your rifle. This morning when I picked it up." He had to stop. He started again. "It was heavier than I thought, and I almost dropped it, and everybody was watching, and that's why I threw it. It wasn't 'cause of you. It was 'cause I looked stupid for half a second, and I couldn't take it." Silence. "Ma'am, 12 years, and I threw the only thing that could save us because I didn't want 50 guys to see me fumble." The radio was quiet for 4 full seconds. Then Emily Carter said, "Sergeant Rennick." "Ma'am, every single person I have ever lost, I lost because somebody was more afraid of looking stupid than of being wrong. Generals, colonels, men with more medals than you've got years." Her voice was steady as a table. "You're the first one who ever said it out loud. So you don't get to die on me. You understand you're carrying the only honest thing I've heard in 4 years, and I'm not letting you take it with you." Rennick made a sound. It might have been a laugh. Ma'am, that's the meanest thing anybody's ever. Corpsman, Trish was screaming. Corpsman, 1726. Go. Sir, how many charges? 5. Where are they now? Reyes pulled them into the culvert. Sir, do you have anybody who can read a timer without touching it? Carter, what are you thinking? Sir, I'm thinking those charges were set for 1800 by a man who wanted to drop this tower at 1800, and I'm thinking that number means something to him, and I'm thinking he's 110 minutes from having an appointment he can't reschedule. Carter, sir, there is something happening at 1800. 1727. Ma'am, Brooks flat on his belly eye welded to the scope. Ma'am, talk. There's a rock on that north ridge that wasn't there this morning. Emily turned her head so slow it hurt. Say that again, Corporal. Ma'am, I've been staring at that ridge for an hour and a half. There's a rock at the base of the third finger. It's got a shadow going the wrong way. He swallowed. Ma'am, everything on that ridge throws a shadow east right now. That one throws it north. Emily got her eye behind the scope. 11 seconds. Cole? Send it. I have him. The whole net went dead silent. Carter, are you certain? Sir, that's a kestrel hood and he's got it draped wrong because he's been in position for 11 hours and he's tired and he doesn't think anybody's looking north because he spent all day teaching me to look northwest. She was breathing very slow now. Sir, 3,140 meters. He's in a hide he built before I landed. Can you take it? Sir. Carter, can you take it? Sir. My scopes cracked, my cheeks open. My hands have been shaking for 20 minutes. My winds died 3 times in the last hour, and the man in that hide is the best student I ever had. A pause. And I've got one thing he doesn't. What? He thinks he knows what I'll do next, she said, because he learned it from me. And I've been teaching myself different for 4 years, and he never came to those classes. 1729. Brooks. Ma'am, do you love your brother? Brooks's head came up. Ma'am, Mikey 14, do you love him? Ma'am, what? Answer the question, Corporal. Yes, ma'am. Good, ma'am, Emily said. Then when I tell you to move, you move, because I want you to see him again, and I want you to know that I want that. Not because you're useful, because you're 23, and your dad was a gunner, and you climbed a ladder twice for a stranger. Brooks's eyes went hot, and he was furious about it. Ma'am, why are you saying this? Because the next thing I do is going to make him fire, Emily said. And I want somebody who isn't me to be honest with somebody for once today. 1730. Cole Carter, I need 3 things. Say them. 1, I need every Marine on this base under hard cover in the next 60 seconds. Not the berm, cover. Done. 2, I need somebody to put a helmet on a stick at the east end of this platform and hold it up for exactly 1.5 seconds and then take it down. Carter, that's... Sir, it's the oldest trick in the world, and that's why it'll work, because he's spent 4 years thinking I'm too good for it. Men who respect you never check the cheap doors. And 3, Emily Carter was quiet for a second. 3, she said, Sir, I need you to promise me that if I miss you, write down everything I told you today in your handwriting tonight before anybody arrives. Names, times, the uniform on the mortar crew. All of it. Carter, you're not going to. Sir, promise me. I promise. 1732. Brooks put a helmet on a broken piece of platform railing. Ma'am, I'm ready. Corporal, when I say up, you count 1, 2, and down, not 3, 2. Yes, ma'am. And Brooks. Ma'am, your hand comes nowhere near the edge. If your hand goes over that edge, he takes the hand, and you don't get to throw a baseball to Mikey ever again, and I will have to live with that on top of everything else, and I am at capacity. Yes, ma'am. Emily settled behind the rifle. Her cheek found the stock and the metal in her face screamed, and she let it scream. She looked through a scope with a crack running through the top left of the glass like a river on a map, at a rock 3,140 meters away, with a shadow going the wrong direction, and she thought about a man in a wadi with no face and 11 kids in bags and a woman in Virginia who hugged her and said it wasn't her fault. Ellis, she said, not on the radio, to nobody. You didn't have to let me carry him. Ma'am, nothing, up. Brooks put the helmet up. 1, 2, down, nothing. 1733. Ma'am, he didn't. Again. Ma'am, Corporal again. Up, 1, 2, down, nothing. Brooks was shaking. Ma'am, he's not biting. He's not biting because he knows I'm doing it, Emily said, and there was something almost like affection in it, and that was the most frightening thing Brooks had heard all day. He's lying up there right now, smiling. Guys, he knows exactly what I'm doing. He's saying, come on, Chief, come on. You taught me that one in Yuma. So what do we? So I do the thing he doesn't know. She pushed the rifle 3 feet to the left, put her back against the broken railing, sat up and put the barrel across her knee. Brooks stared at her. Ma'am, that's not. Corporal, in about 6 seconds, I'm going to be the only thing on this platform he can see, and I'm going to be sitting up like an idiot in a lawn chair. And there is exactly one man alive who knows that I have never fired a shot from that position in my entire career. Because it's a bad position. Because it's a terrible position, Emily agreed, which is why when he sees it, he's going to think I've lost my nerve. And a man who thinks you've lost your nerve stops being careful for about 1 second. Ma'am, go down the ladder, Daniel. Ma'am, no. Go down the ladder or I will shoot you in the leg myself and drop you off this thing, and I am not being funny. Brooks went down the ladder. 1735. Cole, send it. Sir, tell your Marines something for me. Carter. Sir, tell them I was never lucky. And Emily Carter sat up. She sat up into 110 feet of open air on a condemned platform with an old rifle across her knee, 3,140 meters from the only man on earth who had ever been able to do what she did, and she gave him everything he had ever wanted. She gave him a target. Down on the ground, 22 Marines under hard cover watched a woman they had laughed at 9 hours ago make herself into the biggest, dumbest, most beautiful bullseye in the state of Arizona, and not one of them made a sound. Cole heard himself say, no. Nothing happened. 1 second. 2. 4. Come on, Emily said quietly. Come on, Ellis. I taught you better than to wait. 7 seconds. 9. And then 3,140 meters north, a rock with the wrong shadow moved half an inch, and a man who had been perfectly still for 11 hours could not help himself because he had never been able to sit still, and she had told him 100 times, and he had laughed at her every single time. She fired first. The old rifle cracked. The board broke in the next room, and then the second sound came almost on top of it, so close together that Cole would spend the rest of his life arguing with himself about which came first. 2 shots, 4 seconds of nothing, and then the platform came apart. 1736. Carter. Metal screaming. 110 feet of rusted lattice folding at the third joint like a knee giving out, and Cole was running before he decided to run, and Brooks was already running. Brooks was 40 feet ahead of him because Brooks had been 15 rungs from the bottom when it happened and had let go and dropped and hit the dirt rolling. Carter report. The tower came down across 200 feet of hardpack, and the dust went up, and the noise went on for 11 seconds and then stopped all at once, the way noise does. Carter, nothing. Reyes, get everybody. Get everybody. Get everybody. 52 Marines ran at a pile of steel. 1737. They found the rifle first. Brooks found it. It was standing almost straight up, muzzle in the dirt stock, in the air wedged between 2 beams, and the scope was gone. Just gone, sheared off at the mount. Ma'am! He started throwing metal. Bare hands. A beam that took 4 men to move it. An hour later, Brooks got a hand under it and screamed, and it didn't move. And he did it again. Ma'am, answer me. Brooks! Reyes had him by the shoulder. Brooks, stop, you gotta. Get off me! Cole climbed onto the wreck and stood on it and shouted her name into it. And then Rennick flat on his back 30 meters away, with a corpsman's hands inside him, and no business being conscious, said in a voice that barely made it out of his mouth, Sir, radio. Cole looked at the handset in his hand. It was still keyed. 1738. For 11 seconds, there was nothing on it but static. Then there was breathing, bad breathing, wet and short and wrong. 52 Marines stopped moving. Sir, it was almost nothing. It was a thread. Sir, this is Carter. Cole's knees went, and he sat down hard on a piece of the tower. I hear you, Carter, I hear you. Sir, she had to stop. She came back. Sir, I'm still here. Where, Carter, where? Under it. We're coming. We're coming right now. 52 of us. We're coming. Don't you move. Sir. Breath. Sir, listen, before they get here. Carter, save it. Sir, listen to me. And somehow from under 110 feet of American steel, with her ribs wrong and her face open and her rifle standing in the dirt above her like a marker, Emily Carter got hard again. Sir, I hit him. I hit him. He's on that ridge and he is not getting up. I know. I know you did. Sir, that's not the part. What's the part? Sir, he fired at the same time I did, she said, and he didn't shoot at me. Cole went cold all the way down. Say again. Sir, he had me. He had me sitting up in the open like a fool at 3,100 meters, and it was the easiest shot of his life, and he took it, and he missed by 11 feet. Her breathing tore. Sir Ellis Ward doesn't miss by 11 feet. He shot the tower. He shot the third joint. He dropped it on me instead of putting a hole in me, and I need you to understand what that means. Carter. Sir, he didn't want me dead, Emily said. He wanted me buried, and there are 5 charges in that culvert set for 1800, and it is now 1739, and somebody is coming here at 1800 expecting to find a collapsed tower with a body under it and no witnesses. Silence. Sir, she said, somebody's coming, and it's one of ours, 1739. Cole stood on top of a pile of steel with a handset in his hand and 21 minutes on a clock he hadn't set. Reyes. Sir. Get me a count. Everybody, right now. Names, not numbers. Sir, we've got to dig her. Marcus. Cole's voice did something none of them had heard in 9 hours. It went quiet. In 21 minutes, somebody is going to drive through that gate expecting a hole in the ground, and when they find 52 Marines standing around it, they are going to have to make a decision about us. I want to know exactly how many people I'm about to have to save. Names, go. Reyes went. Brooks. Brooks did not answer. Brooks had both hands under a crossbeam and his boots dug in and his whole body shaking, and he was making a sound that wasn't words. Corporal Brooks. I'm getting her out. Brooks, look at me. She's under it. I know she's under it. Cole came off the pile and got a fist in the front of Brooks's blouse and put him against a beam. I know she is under it, son, and if you pull the wrong piece of that stack, the whole thing settles, and it settles on her chest, and then she's not under it anymore. She's part of it. You hear me? Brooks's face came apart. Sir, I know. Sir, I went down the ladder. You went down because she made you. Sir, I went down the ladder, and she stayed. Brooks. Cole let go of him. Every man on this base is going to spend the rest of his life doing arithmetic about today. Don't start yours in the first 10 minutes. 1741. Carter Cole, talk to me. Nothing. Carter. Static. Carter, this is Cole. I need a voice. The handset popped, and there was that breathing again, and it had gotten worse in 90 seconds, which was the thing that scared him most. Sir. There you are. Sir, are you talking to me, or are you keeping me awake? Both. Huh, she said. That's honest. That's twice today. Carter, where are you, physically? Give me something. Sir, there is a beam across my hips. It's not on them. It's over them, about 4 inches, and there's a second one under my back holding it off. She stopped. Came back. Sir, I'm in a triangle. It's about the size of a bathtub. If anything above me moves, the triangle stops being a triangle. Cole closed his eyes. Copy. Sir, my legs are fine. I can feel them. I'm telling you that because I know it's the first thing you want to ask, and I don't want you spending a question on it. What do you want me to spend it on? Sir, what time is it? 1741. Then stop digging, Emily said, and go arrest the culvert. 1742. Reyes came back at a dead run. Sir, 49. 49 what? Sir, 49 standing. Delgado's critical. Tavares is walking Renix. Renix what? Sir, Renix arguing with the corpsman. Cole almost laughed, and it came out as something else. About what? Sir, he wants to be moved to where he can see the tower. Tell him no. Sir, I told him no. He told me to go to hell. Reyes wiped at his face with the back of his wrist and only smeared it. Sir, he said, and I'm quoting, he said, "Tell the commander I've been wrong once today already, and I'm not being wrong about her twice." Cole stood there for 2 full seconds. "Move him," he said. "Sir, move him where he can see the tower. Carefully." Marcus, move him. 1743. Carter, sir, talk to me about the charges. Sir, are they still in the covert? They're in the culvert. Did anybody touch them? Reyes carried them there. There was a silence on the net that was worse than any noise. Sir, very carefully, sir, did Lieutenant Reyes pick up 5 arm-shaped charges with a timer on them and walk them 100 meters? He did. Sir, put him on. Reyes, Cole handed the handset over. She wants you. Reyes took it like it was hot. Ma'am, Reyes. Lieutenant, did you look at the back of them? Ma'am, the back, the flat side. Was there a screw in it or was it molded shut? Reyes's face went blank while he pulled it up. Ma'am, there was a screw, 2 screws, Phillips head. The radio was quiet. Ma'am, Lieutenant, Emily said, those aren't field charges. Field charges are molded. Anything with a Phillips head in the back is a training charge or a shop build, and nobody in a cave builds a shop charge with a Phillips screws because nobody in a cave has a bin of Phillips screws. A breath that cost her something. Somebody made those on a bench, on a base in a building with a supply cabinet. Cole took the handset back. Carter. Sir, whoever's coming at 1800 didn't just get told there'd be a collapsed tower, she said. They ordered the tower. They built the thing that was supposed to drop it. They put it in a truck and drove it here and handed it to 5 men who spoke English and told them to wait in a ditch since before sunrise. Carter. Sir, that's not a leak. That's a program. 1745. 15 minutes. Reyes. Sir. Where's the gate? Sir, there's 4 gates. Which one takes a truck? South. It's the only one with a road. Then here's what we're doing. Cole was walking and everybody was walking with him, and he had not raised his voice once, and that was somehow worse. Reyes, you're taking 8 men and you're putting them in the drainage north of the south gate, and nobody points a weapon at anybody. Nobody. You hear me? Weapons down, muzzles in the dirt. Sir, if there. Marcus, if a U.S. vehicle comes through that gate and my Marines are pointed at it, then whatever happens next is a thing my Marines did. And I've got 49 people who have to live in this country afterward. He stopped. We are not going to be the people who shot first. We're going to be the people who were standing there. Sir, what if they shoot? Then we'll be the people who were standing there when they shot, Cole said, and 49 of us will have seen it. Reyes stared at him. Sir, that's the whole plan, Marcus. 1746. Brooks. Brooks was still at the pile. He had not moved. His hands were bleeding. Corporal, I need you. Sir, I'm not leaving her. I'm not asking you to leave her. I'm asking you to do a job at her. Brooks looked up. Sir, your dad was a gunner. Yes, sir. He teach you to write, sir. Cole pulled a small green notebook out of his cargo pocket. It had been in there for 19 years worth of pockets. He held it out. She made me promise something, Cole said. She made me promise that if she missed, I'd write it all down in my handwriting before anybody got here. Names times the uniform on the mortar crew, all of it. She didn't miss. So I'm keeping the promise anyway, except I've got 11 minutes and a gate to stand in front of. Brooks looked at the notebook. Sir, you want me to? I want you to sit on that pile with your hand on that steel where she can hear you, and I want you to write down every single thing she says from now until somebody makes you stop. He pushed it into Brooks's chest. You're the 2nd head corporal. That's what you told her. So be it. Brooks took the notebook. His hands were shaking so bad he dropped it. He picked it up. Sir. What, sir? What if they take it? Cole looked at him. Then you better read it out loud while you're writing it, he said, because there's 49 of us and only 1 notebook, and a man can take a book. 1748. Brooks got up on the pile and put his hand flat on a beam. Ma'am, it's Brooks. Corporal. Ma'am, they gave me a notebook. Who did? The commander. There was a pause, then quiet. Oh, that's good. That's very good. He listened. Ma'am, I'm supposed to write down what you say. Then write fast, Daniel, because I'm going to say a lot, and I don't know how long my mouth works. Brooks's throat closed. Ma'am, don't say it like that. Corporal put the pen on the paper. Yes, ma'am. Operation Silent Arrow, 12 personnel. I was the team chief. My sergeant was Ellis Ward, WARD. Left-handed, wore his watch on his right wrist. Her voice was going in and out, and she kept dragging it back. Are you writing? I'm writing. On the third day, somebody transmitted our position. It was not intercepted. It was transmitted. There's a difference, and it's the whole thing. Write that down. It was transmitted. Transmitted. On the fourth day, I recovered a body I identified as Ward by his gear alone. Face was not viable. I never confirmed dental. Nobody asked me to. Write that down too. Nobody asked me to. Brooks was writing so hard the pen was going through the page. Ma'am. Corporal, don't stop me. I'll lose it. Breath. Today at approximately 17:35, I engaged a shooter at 3,140 meters on the North Ridge, who I believe with certainty to be Ellis Ward. He returned fire and deliberately struck the tower joint instead of my position. He had the shot. He did not take it. Write that. He had the shot. He did not take it. Daniel. Ma'am. Underline that one. 1750, 10 minutes. Reyes had 8 men in a drainage ditch with their muzzles in the dirt, and every one of them thought he had lost his mind. LT. What? Sir, we're just gonna stand here. That's the order. Sir, they killed Delgado's. Delgado's alive. Sir, they blew up the south building and they put 5 guys in a ditch to drop a tower on a woman. Reyes turned around. His face was wrapped in gauze that had gone brown, and he was 29 years old, and he had a wife in San Diego who thought he was at a training range. Franco, he said, say the thing you're actually saying. Franco's jaw worked. Sir, I don't want to be the guy who stood there. Yeah, Reyes said. Me neither. So there's 49 of us, and every one of us wants to be the guy who did something. Reyes turned back around. And the only thing anybody's going to be able to prove tomorrow is what we didn't do. So we're going to be very, very good at not doing it. 1752. Cole, the radio. Send it. Sir, has anything come through the gate? Not yet. Sir, when it does, whoever gets out is going to say a word, and I need you to listen for it. What word? Sir, he's going to say containment, Emily said. Or he's going to say sanitize, or he's going to say we are taking custody. And whichever one he says is the whole thing, because those are the 3 words they use when there was never supposed to be anybody left to hear them. Carter. Sir, and there's a 4th thing he might say, and if he says it, you need to get every Marine on this base flat on the ground. What's the 4th? Sir, if he calls me by my first name, Emily said, then he's been on this from the beginning, and there's no version of tonight where he lets 49 people drive home. 1754. Brooks's pen stopped. Ma'am. Right, Corporal. Ma'am, are you saying an American officer is going to? Daniel. Ma'am, that doesn't happen. There was a silence under the steel. Corporal, Emily said, and her voice was almost kind. In a minute, you're going to find out if you're right, and I hope to God you are, and I have never in my life hoped so hard to be wrong about something. 1756. Sir. Reyes on the net low. Sir Dust. South Road. Cole's stomach went to water. How many? Sir, 2 vehicles, no 3. 3 vehicles, and they're ours, sir. They're U.S. They've got markings there. Marcus? Sir, the lead's an ambulance. Cole blinked. Say again? Sir, it's a medevac. It's a U.S. Army medevac vehicle. It's got the cross on it, sir, and there's a truck behind it, and there's... Marcus, what's the 3rd? Sir, Reyes' voice went funny. Sir, the 3rd's a black SUV. 1757. Cole stood in the middle of the South Road with his hands empty and his weapon slung across his back and 49 Marines behind him, doing exactly nothing. The vehicle stopped 40 meters out. The medevac doors opened and 4 people in Army combat uniforms got out with bags, and one of them was a woman with captain's bars, and she started walking toward the wounded before anybody said a word to her, and she said, where are they? Who's worst? And Cole heard himself say, west side under the awning, 3 of them, the bad ones, Delgado. She went. She just went. She didn't ask permission. She didn't ask what happened. And for exactly 4 seconds, Nathan Cole let himself believe it. Then the SUV door opened. 1758. The man who got out was 50-something, and he was not in combat gear. He was in a soft-shell jacket and khakis, and he had sunglasses hanging off his collar and a tablet under his arm. And he looked around at a destroyed outpost with 49 Marines standing in it, and a collapsed tower and a smoking building, and the first thing he did was check his watch. That was the first thing he did. He checked his watch. Cole felt something in his chest turn to stone. Commander Cole. That's right. Ted Brennan. He put out his hand. Cole did not take it. Brennan let it hang for a second and then put it in his pocket like he'd meant to. I'm sorry it took us this long. Comms went down region-wide. We had a whole thing. Region-wide. Whole corridor, it's a mess. We've got a team on it. He was already walking past Cole toward the tower. Casualties. 3 wounded, 1 critical. That's a miracle, Commander, given what I'm looking at. That's a genuine miracle. Brennan stopped at the edge of the wreck and looked up at where 110 feet of tower used to be. Christ, what happened here? You tell me. Brennan turned around. He smiled. It was a good smile. It had probably worked 10,000 times. Excuse me, 1759. Mr. Brennan, Cole's voice carried, and he made sure it did because there were 49 people behind him, and Corporal Daniel Brooks was sitting on a pile of steel with a green notebook and a pen. At 16:20 this afternoon, 34 hostile vehicles with electronic warfare capability and a professional command element parked on that ridge. They came from the northwest, 200 miles across American desert. Nobody stopped them. Commander, I'm going to get you a full. At 1700, a mortar crew engaged my position from a rise 1,800 meters east, operating from a vehicle with United States markings, and one of the men on that crew was wearing our uniform. Brennan's face did not move. That's a serious allegation. At 1719, 5 men in a culvert at the base of that tower shouted friendly at 22 of my Marines in English and then reached into a bag containing 5 shaped charges built with Phillips head screws. Commander, set for 1800, Cole said. Brennan looked at his watch again. He couldn't help it. It was reflex. It took a quarter of a second and 49 Marines saw him do it, and Cole saw them see it. It's 1759, Mr. Brennan, Cole said. You're a minute early. 1800, nothing happened. No blast, no timer, nothing. Just wind and 49 people breathing. Brennan smiled again, and this one was thinner. Commander, you've had a long day. I have. You've had a very long day and you've lost people, and I understand what that does. I've been there. I have genuinely been there. He spread his hands. So let me tell you why I'm here, and then you can decide how you want to talk to me. I'm here to take custody of the site. Behind Cole, 49 Marines went absolutely still. Say that again, Cole said. I'm here to take custody of the site and begin containment, Brennan said. There's a classified asset on this range, and I need to establish chain of custody before this becomes an incident. 1801. Up on the pile, Brooks's pen stopped moving. Under the steel, a voice said very quietly, There it is. He said both. Brooks put his mouth near the beam. Ma'am, he said custody, and he said containment. I heard him, Corporal. I'm right here. Ma'am, what do I do? Keep writing. Brennan was still talking. Now, I understand there was a support specialist assigned to you, temporary. My office cut that assignment. Your office. That's right. Mr. Brennan, your office cut an assignment to a range that closed 2 years ago. Commander, I don't do the scheduling. Your office cut an assignment, Cole said, to a closed range with no air, no satellite window, and a 52-man element that nobody would look for until Thursday. Commander, and the only thing at the end of 200 miles of empty desert, Cole said, was her. 1802. Brennan stopped smiling, and Cole watched a thing happen that he had seen maybe 4 times in 19 years, which was a man deciding to stop pretending. Commander, Brennan said, and his voice had dropped about 10 degrees, I'm going to be direct with you as a courtesy because you seem like somebody who's earned one. There is a piece of hardware and a person on this range that are both the property of a program that predates your career. That program had a catastrophic failure 4 years ago, and it has been leaking ever since, and today it stopped leaking. Do you understand what I'm telling you? Today it stopped. Say her name. Excuse me. You've been standing here for 4 minutes and you've said asset, And you've said support specialist, and you've said person. Say her name. Brennan looked at him. Commander, I'm not going to do that. Why not? Because you don't have the clearance and neither does anybody standing behind you. Then say the shooter's name, Cole said. The one on the North Ridge, say his. And Ted Brennan, who had not blinked once, blinked. 1803. There's a shooter on the North Ridge. There was. She got him, Cole said, at 3,140 meters. From a sitting position with a cracked scope with metal in her face on a tower that was already coming apart. Brennan's throat moved. That's not. Say his name, Mr. Brennan. Commander. His name was Ellis Ward, Cole said, and he's been dead for 4 years, and I've got a sign form in a file somewhere that says so, and I bet it's got your office on it. The wind came through and nobody said anything for 4 seconds. Then Brennan said quietly, where is she? And Cole said, under the tower. Brennan's whole body changed. 1804. Under it. That's right. She's alive. Mr. Brennan, you want to be careful about which way you say that. Commander, I asked you a question, and I'm not going to answer it, Cole said, because you drove out here with an ambulance and a truck and a black SUV, and the ambulance came out of that gate first, and I've been standing here for 6 minutes trying to figure out which one of those 3 vehicles you actually brought. Brennan stared at him. Commander, that ambulance has a trauma team in it. It does. That trauma team is currently working on your critical. They are. So which vehicle do you think I brought? I think you brought all 3, Cole said, and I think you were going to decide which one mattered based on what you found when you got here. 1805. Brennan didn't answer that. That was the answer. Commander, he said, and he was very calm now, I need you to move your Marines off that pile. No. Commander. No. I have authority here. Show me. Brennan reached into his jacket and came out with a folded page and held it up, and it had 3 stamps on it, and Cole did not even look at it. Mr. Brennan, do you know what I got at 0200 this morning? I don't care. I got a folder with the 3 stamps on it that told me almost nothing useful and sent 52 Americans to a place with no air support and no comms and 34 hostile vehicles inbound. So you'll forgive me if a piece of paper with 3 stamps on it doesn't do to me what it used to do. Commander, you are 1 phone call from what? From having a career. And Nathan Cole, 19 years in, laughed. It was not a nice laugh. Mr. Brennan, he said, at 4 o'clock this afternoon, I had 52 people and a lie in my hand. It's now 6 o'clock and I've got 49 and I still got the lie. You want to threaten me with a career? Go ahead. Take it. I'll trade you. He stepped in. But the second you put a hand on that pile, 49 United States Marines are going to watch you do it. And you're going to have to explain to every single one of them why the man from the office wanted the woman under the steel to stay under the steel. 1806. Nobody moved. Then from 30 meters away, flat on his back with a tube in his arm and a corpsman's knee in the dirt beside him, Sergeant Vic Rennick said loud enough, Sir! Everybody turned. Sir, I got something to say, and I'm going to say it in front of the man in the jacket. Rennick, don't. Sir, this morning I threw that woman's rifle in the dirt in front of 50 guys, Rennick said. And everybody laughed. And she picked it up, and she saved every one of us anyway, and she didn't say one word about it, not one all day. Brennan turned to look at him. Sergeant, I don't know what you think this is. Mr. Rennick said, I know exactly what this is. I've been wrong once today already. 1807. And then Brooks stood up on the pile. 23 years old from Bakersfield, hands bleeding, green notebook in one fist. And he raised it over his head the way a sergeant had raised a rifle 9 hours ago. And he said in a voice that cracked in the middle and did not stop, My name is Corporal Daniel Brooks, and I am reading this out loud. Corporal, Brennan's voice went sharp. Corporal, put that down. Operation Silent Arrow 12 Personnel Team Chief Emily Carter. Corporal. On the 3rd day, somebody transmitted their position. It was not intercepted. It was transmitted. Brennan started walking toward the pile. Nobody stopped him. 49 Marines' weapons slung muzzles down exactly as ordered, and not one of them stopped him. And Cole did not stop him. And the only thing that happened was that Reyes and 8 men climbed up out of the drainage ditch and stood in the road. And the trauma team stopped working and looked up, and the driver of the truck got out to sea, and Ted Brennan got exactly 9 steps. On the fourth day, she recovered a body she identified by gear alone, face not viable. Nobody asked her to confirm den on it. Nobody asked, Corporal, you are going to prison. At 17:35 today, she engaged a shooter at 3,140 meters who she identified with certainty as Sergeant Ellis Ward. Brennan stopped walking. He had the shot. Brooks screamed, and he did not take it. 1808. Silence. Ted Brennan stood in the dirt in front of a pile of steel, with 49 people watching him and a boy from Bakersfield holding a notebook over his head. And for the first time all day, the man from the office had nowhere to put his eyes. That's not, he said. It's underlined, Brooks said. Corporal, that's not what happened. You weren't here. Son, you don't understand what you're... And then the radio in Cole's hand crackled. Every head on that range turned, because the voice that came out of it was wrecked and wet and had about 9 words left in it, and it said, Sir, ask him how he knows it's not what happened. 1809. Brennan went white. He looked at the pile. He looked at the radio in Cole's hand. And Nathan Cole watched 50-something years of a man's certainty fall off him in one piece, exactly the way he'd watched it fall off Vic Rennick 9 hours earlier. And he thought, dear God, it's the same thing. It's the same exact thing. It's just a nicer jacket. She's on the net, Brennan said. She's been on the net the whole time, Cole said. The handset's been keyed since 1738. The whole? Every word you said. Brennan's mouth opened. Mr. Brennan, Cole said, you want to know the only thing that's been running on this base since 1500? Her radio. She brought her own. It's the only piece of equipment out here that your office didn't schedule. 1810. Sir, the voice under the steel. Sir, I'm here. Sir, tell him what Ellis shot. Cole raised his head and looked at Ted Brennan and said it loud enough for the whole range. He shot the joint, Cole said. 3,140 meters. She's sitting up in the open, easiest shot of his life, and he put it in the third joint of the tower. That's not. He dropped it on her instead of through her, Cole said. You want to know why, Commander? Because your man on the ridge decided at the last second that he'd rather she got buried alive than shot dead, and there's only one reason a professional makes that trade. Cole took one step. He wanted her found. He wanted somebody to dig. 1811. And under 110 feet of American steel, Emily Carter started laughing. It was terrible. It was wet and broken, and it kept catching, and it went on for 6 seconds, and every single person on that range stood in the dirt and listened to it. Ma'am, Brooks was on his knees on the pile with his hand flat on the beam. Ma'am, stop, please stop, you're Daniel. Ma'am, write this down. Ma'am, I'm writing. Ellis Ward, she said, was left-handed. Ma'am, I've got that. And he wore his watch on the wrong wrist, she said. And I told him 100 times it made him easy to identify. Ma'am, Corporal, Emily said, he never stopped wearing it. 1812. Nobody breathed. 4 years, she said. 4 years hiding, 4 years with everything to lose, and he never took off the one thing that could give him away. Her voice went and came back and went again. Daniel, do you understand what I'm telling you? He wanted me to see it. Brooks's face was soaked, and he did not know it. Ma'am, he walked down that ridge in the open at 3,000 meters with his watch on the wrong wrist, Emily said. Corporal, that wasn't a taunt. That was a man trying to get a message to the only person on earth who'd read it. Ma'am, what was the message? There was a long silence under the steel. I don't know yet, Emily said, and then quieter than anything in all day. Sir, Commander Cole. I'm here. Sir, I need somebody to go up that ridge. Carter, you're under a... Sir, listen to me. Her breathing tore in half and she dragged it back one more time. Sir, I hit him. I know I hit him, but I fired first and he fired second, and a man who's dead does not correct his aim 11 feet onto a joint. Sir, he made that decision after my bullet was already in the air. Cole's blood stopped. Carter. Sir, he's up there, Emily said, and he's not dead yet. And he's got about 9 minutes worth of something to say, and there is a man in a soft shell jacket standing in your dirt right now who would give absolutely anything for nobody to hear it. Every head on that range turned to Ted Brennan, and Ted Brennan was already reaching for his phone. 1813. Reyes. Sir, take the phone. Marcus Reyes crossed 9 meters of dirt and took the phone out of Ted Brennan's hand before Brennan's thumb finished moving, and Brennan spun on him with his mouth open, and Reyes just stood there holding it, 29 years old, half his face wrapped in brown gauze, and said nothing at all. "Commander?" Brennan's voice climbed. "Commander, that is a federal." "Mr. Brennan, my lieutenant did not point a weapon at you. He did not touch you. He picked up a phone." Cole didn't move. "You want it back, ask him nice." "You have no idea what you just—" "I've got a real good idea. Commander, that phone is on a network That's why he took it," Cole said. 1814. "Franco." "Sir?" "You still got that truck?" "Sir, the truck's got a busted." "Franco does it run?" "Sir, it runs." "Then you and 3 men are going up that ridge, and you're going to find a man. And if he's breathing, you're going to bring him back breathing. And if there's anything within 10 feet of him, a pack, a notebook, a scrap of paper, a phone, a sandwich, you bring that too, and you do not open it. Sir, that ridge is 3 clicks, and it's Franco. Sir, going. Commander." Brennan stepped into the road. "Commander, I am ordering you not to send those Marines." Cole turned his head. "Say that again where the notebook can hear you." Brennan's mouth shut. 1815. Up on the pile, Brooks had his hand flat on the beam and his ear almost against it. "Ma'am, they're going. Franco's going." "Nothing." "Ma'am, nothing." "Ma'am, answer me." "Corporal." It came from the radio in Cole's hand instead, and it was almost gone. Corporal stopped shouting into steel. "It's not a phone." Brooks laughed, and it came out wrong, and he pressed the back of his wrist against his eyes. "Ma'am, don't do that again." "Do what?" "Go quiet." "Daniel." A long pull of air that sounded like it hurt on the way in and worse on the way out. "Daniel, I'm going to go quiet eventually. That's just arithmetic. But I'm going to tell you when." "Ma'am, don't. That's the deal I'm offering. It's the only one I've got." 1816. Cole. "I'm here." "Sir, get the trauma team off Delgado." "Carter, Delgado's critical." "Sir, I know Delgado's critical. That's why I'm not asking for them," Emily said. "I'm asking you to get one of them, the captain. Just her. 2 minutes." "Why?" "Because I need somebody who knows what they're looking at to tell me a number." "What number?" "Sir, how long I've got." Cole closed his eyes. "Carter." "Sir, don't do that. Don't do the thing where you protect me from a clock." "I've been reading clocks all day, sir. It's the only thing I'm good at." 1817. The Army captain came at a jog. Her name tape said Ruiz, and she had somebody else's blood to the elbow, and she got up on that pile in her boots and put her hand on the beam like she'd been doing it her whole life. "Ma'am, I'm Captain Ruiz. I need you to tell me exactly what you feel." "Captain, there's a beam 4 inches over my hips and 1 under my back." "Copy. Left side ribs, I can feel them moving when I talk." "How's your breathing?" "Wet." Ruiz's face changed a half degree, and she got control of it immediately, and Brooks saw the half degree, and his stomach fell through the earth. "Ma'am, are you cold?" There was a pause. "Yes." "How long?" "About 20 minutes." Ruiz sat back on her heels. "Ma'am, I'm not going to lie to you." "Please don't. Everybody's been lying to me since 2011. Captain, and I'm very tired of the technique." 1818. "Ma'am, you're bleeding inside and I can't get to you," Ruiz said. "You've got a hemothorax on the left and your pressure's going and I can hear it in your voice. And if we cut that stack wrong, the whole thing settles and it's over in a second. If we cut it right, it's 40 minutes minimum." "Captain, give me the number." Ruiz looked at Cole. Cole did not look away. "Ma'am," Ruiz said, 30 minutes, maybe 40. And I want to be honest, if I get you out at 40, I still might not." Silence on the pile. Then Emily Carter said, "That's good. That's plenty." "Ma'am, that's not." "Captain, you don't understand," she said. "I've been trying to buy 30 minutes for 4 years." 1819. "Sir," Franco on the net breathing hard engine noise behind him. "Sir, we're on the Ridge Road." "Franco, talk to me." "Sir, there's a hide." "Sir, it's—" "Franco." "Sir, it's the best thing I've ever seen in my life," Franco said, and his voice was strange. "Sir, I'm standing 11 feet from it, and I still can't see it. There's a man in here who built a hole in Arizona that I'm standing on and can't find." "Is he alive?" There was a pause with wind in it. Sir? Franco, is he alive? 1820. Sir, he's alive. 49 Marines and one man in a soft shell jacket heard it at the same time. Sir, he's hit high left chest. It went through. He's got a pack. He's got a phone. He's got a notebook. And sir, Franco stopped. Sir, he's got his hands up. He had his hands up before we got out of the truck. He's been laying here with his hands up. Cole's throat closed. Franco, does he say anything? Sir, he says one thing. He keeps saying it. What, sir, he says, is she under it? 1821. Emily Carter made a sound on the radio that nobody on that range would ever repeat to anybody. Ma'am? Brooks had both hands on the beam. Ma'am? Franco. Her voice came back and it was iron and it was fake and everyone knew it was fake and nobody said so. Franco, this is Carter. Ma'am, don't move him. Ma'am, he's... Corporal Franco, don't you move that man 1 inch until you check under him. Under him? Under him, she said. Right hip. There'll be a wire. Silence. Then Franco said in a voice that had climbed an octave, Ma'am, there's a wire. 1822. Everybody stop. Cole was walking. Everybody stop moving. Franco, nobody touches anything. Nobody breathes. Sir, it's... Franco, listen to Carter. Franco. Emily, follow the wire with your eyes only. Where does it go? Ma'am, it goes into the pack. Is the pack under him or beside him? Beside. Is his hand on it? Ma'am, his hands are up. Franco, listened to me very carefully. She said, that's not a booby trap. If it were a trap, the wire would be under the pack, not into it. That's a dead man's switch on a hard drive, and he's been laying there for 45 minutes with his hands in the air, keeping his weight off it, so nobody sets it and wipes it. 1823. Nobody said anything. Then Ted Brennan said, that's enough, and he started walking to the SUV. Reyes stepped into his path, weapon slung, muzzle down, hands empty, exactly as ordered. Move, Lieutenant. No, sir. Lieutenant, I will have you. Sir, I'm not touching you, Reyes said. I'm standing here. There's 49 of us, and we're all standing here. That's the whole thing we're doing. Brennan looked past him at the road, and there were 8 Marines in it, then 12, then 20. Nobody ran, nobody shouted, nobody raised a weapon. 49 exhausted, bleeding dust-covered Americans simply walked into a road and stood in it, and Ted Brennan stood in the middle of a wall of people who were not doing anything at all, and it was the most helpless thing that had ever happened to him. 1824. Franco. Cole. Bring him with the pack. Do exactly what she says. Sir, moving. And Franco. Sir. Keep him alive. 1826. Ma'am? Brooks low, right against the beam. Ma'am, they're bringing him. I heard. Ma'am, what do you want to say to him? There was a long pause. Corporal, I have been writing that speech for 4 years, Emily said. 4 years, and I've got about 9 minutes worth of lung, and I can't remember one word of it. Ma'am, not one word, her breath tore. Isn't that something? 1828. They put the truck 10 feet from the pile, and Franco and 3 Marines carried Ellis Ward off the back of it on a litter, and Captain Ruiz met them halfway, with her hands already moving. He was gray. He was a big man, gone small. There was a hole in him high on the left and a bandage over it that he had put there himself, one-handed in a hole in the ground with his other hand in the air. And he turned his head toward the pile before anybody told him where she was. Chief? The whole range went silent. Chief, are you under it? 1829. Ellis, his face did something. Cole was standing 4 feet away and watched it, and he never told anybody what it looked like. Not his wife, not the board, nobody. Chief, I'm sorry. Don't. Chief. Don't you dare, Emily said, and her voice came up out of the ground like it had been waiting 4 years to do it, and it filled that whole range. Don't you dare say sorry to me. Ellis Ward, don't you dare I carried you. Do you hear me? I carried you 4 kilometers. I zipped the bag. I talked to you for 11 hours. I sat in a hole in the dark, and I told you about my mother, and I told you what I was going to do when I got home, and I told you I was sorry I got you killed, and you were not in the bag. Ward's eyes closed. I know. Who was in the bag? Chief. Who was in the bag? 1830. Ellis Ward said, Rojas. Under 110 feet of steel, everything went quiet. Rojas. He was already gone, Chief. He was gone before I got to him. I swear to you on everything he was already gone. Bam. Ward's chest hitched and Ruiz put a hand on him and he pushed it off with 2 fingers, which was all he had. I put my carrier on him. I put my boots on him. I put my watch on him and I walked. Why, Mo? Because they told me you were the leak. 1831. Nobody breathed. Say that again, Cole said. They told me the chief was the leak. Ward's head rolled toward the voice. Sir, whoever you are, they sat me down 8 hours after, and they showed me a transmission log with her name on it, and they told me she sold 11 of my brothers, and they told me the only way to work it was from the inside, and they told me if I ever surfaced, they'd kill her before I got a warrant. He coughed, and it was bad. So I died. Sir, I died on purpose, and I let her carry me out to do it. And I have been chasing a man for 4 years who I thought was her handler. And Ellis Ward turned his head. He looked straight across 10 feet of Arizona dirt at Ted Brennan. And I found him about 2 hours ago, he said, when he told me she'd be on that tower at 1600. 1832. 49 heads turned. Ted Brennan said, this man is a fugitive and he's been off the reservation for 4 years and he will say anything. Mr. Brennan, Ward's voice was almost nothing and it carried anyway. 417-K as in kilo-99. Brennan stopped. That's the number on the bench in Building 14, Ward said, where you had them build the charges. 2 Phillips screws in the back because Delaney's shop doesn't stock molded, and you didn't want a requisition with your name on it. Brennan's face went the color of paper. Mr. Brennan, Cole said quietly, you want to tell 49 Marines what Building 14 is? 1833. Brennan said nothing. Sir. Emily, barely there. Sir, the pack. Franco. Sir, I got it. Don't open it. Sir, I ain't touching it. Chief. Ward's head turned back to the steel. Chief, the drive's clean. It's 4 years. It's every transmission. It's every payment. It's the log they showed me and the log underneath it. Chief, the log they showed me was built. It was built 40 minutes after the compromise. Your name was typed onto it by somebody who already knew the answer. Ellis. Chief, it was never you. 1834. Under the steel, Emily Carter started to cry. And Corporal Daniel Brooks, 23 years old from Bakersfield, sat down on a pile of American steel with his hand flat on a beam and a green notebook in his lap and cried with her out loud in front of 49 Marines. And not one man on that range looked away, and not one man said a word about it then or ever. Ma'am, he said, ma'am, it wasn't you. Corporal, ma'am, 4 years. Daniel, write it down. Ma'am, I can't see the page. Then say it out loud, Emily said. Say it loud enough that everybody standing here has to carry it home. And Brooks lifted his head and screamed it at the sky. It was never her. 1835. Ted Brennan ran. He got 9 steps toward the SUV, and then Sergeant Vic Rennick, flat on his back with a tube in his arm, and a corpsman screaming at him, reached out with one hand and grabbed the man's ankle. That was it. That was all he did. One hand, one ankle. Brennan went down in the dirt in front of 49 people, and he never got up again because by the time he pushed himself onto an elbow, there were 8 Marines standing in a circle around him with their hands empty and their muzzles down, doing absolutely nothing exactly as ordered, and there was nowhere in the state of Arizona for him to go. Sergeant, Cole's voice cracked. Rennick, let go, you're going to. Sir. Rennick's eyes were closed. He was smiling. Sir, I've been wrong once today. 1837. Cut it. Ruiz was up on the pile. Cut the stack. Cut it now. I want the top 3, and I want them lifted straight, nothing sideways. Nothing sideways. 49 Marines got on that tower. Not 8, not 20. All of them. Men with wounds. Men who hadn't eaten in 14 hours. Franco Reyes Tavares on one leg, men who had laughed at her at 0800 with their hands in the same steel, now lifting, straining, screaming at each other about angles, and Brooks in the middle of it, with his hands already open and bleeding, doing it again. Ma'am, talk. Nothing. Ma'am, Daniel. Barely. Ma'am, keep talking. Daniel, I'm cold. Ma'am, keep talking. That's an order. Corporal. A ghost of something. Corporal, you don't outrank me. 1841. Beam, beam, coming straight up, straight up. I see her. I see her, sir. I see her hand. 1842. They got her out at 1842. Cole never remembered the last 30 seconds of it. He remembered his hands under her shoulders and Ruiz shouting and the shape of a bathtub-sized triangle in a mountain of steel and a woman inside it who weighed nothing at all. And he remembered that as they lifted her out, her right hand was still closed around the sling of a rifle that was standing in the dirt 11 feet away. And she wasn't holding it, she was just holding where it would have been. They put her on the ground. She got her eyes open. And the first thing Emily Carter said with a hemothorax and 11 broken things and about 4 minutes of blood pressure left was, "Ellis, is he alive?" "Chief?" 10 feet away. "Chief, I'm right here." She turned her head. 1843. "You never took the watch off." "No, Chief." 4 years. 4 years. "Why?" Eloise Ward's face broke. "Because if I ever got to say it out loud," he said, "Elam, I needed you to know it was me. And there was only one person on earth who'd look at my wrist." 1844. Emily Carter closed her eyes. "Ellis." "Chief." His mother hugged me. "Chief, at the service in Virginia, your mother hugged me and told me it wasn't my fault." Her voice was going and she wouldn't let it. "Ellis, your mother has been putting flowers on Rojas for 4 years. Ward made a sound like a man being taken apart. "I know. You're going to call her." "Chief?" "Ellis Ward." She got her eyes open one more time. "You are going to live, and you are going to walk into that woman's kitchen, and you are going to tell her yourself. That's the order. That's my last order. Do you copy, Chief? Do you copy? Copy, Chief." 1845. 1840. Then she was gone into the back of an ambulance, and the door shut, and it went out the south gate at 90 miles an hour, and 49 Marines stood in the dirt and watched it go. Nobody talked. Then Franco said to nobody, "That rifle's still standing up." And every man on that range turned and looked at it. Muzzle in the dirt, stock in the air, scope sheared off, wedged between two beams like somebody had planted it there. Rennick from the ground said, "Don't nobody touch it." "Sarge," I said, "don't nobody touch it." Nobody did. 1849. 4 vehicles came through the south gate at 1849, and none of them were Ted Brennan's. They were Army CID, and they were very calm and very fast. And the man in charge listened to Nathan Cole for 6 minutes, and then asked one question, which was, "Who wrote it down?" And 49 Marines turned and looked at a 23-year-old corporal from Bakersfield, sitting on a pile of steel with a green notebook. "Son," the man said, "can I see that?" Brooks held it against his chest. "Sir." "Corporal, I'm not going to take it from you." "Sir, I read it out loud," Brooks said, "in front of everybody. 49 guys heard it, so you can take it if you want. It don't matter now." The man from CID looked at him for a second. "No," he said, "I don't suppose it does." 1852. Ted Brennan asked for a lawyer at 1852. He asked in front of 49 witnesses standing in the dirt of a range that had been closed for 2 years, next to a building he had had blown up 90 feet from a tower he had ordered, dropped, and the thing that Nathan Cole remembered for the rest of his life was that Brennan asked for a lawyer before he asked whether anybody had died. That was the whole man. That was all of him. One question in the wrong order. 11 weeks later. Emily Carter woke up in a military hospital in San Antonio for the second time in her life, and this time somebody was in the chair. He was 23 and he was in civilian clothes, and he had a green notebook in his lap, and he was asleep sitting up with his chin on his chest, and there was a kid next to him, maybe 14, playing a game on his phone with the sound off. The kid saw her eyes open. "Hey," he said. Hey, Danny. Brooks came awake like a man falling. "Ma'am?" "Corporal." "Ma'am, you're?" "Corporal, who's this?" Brooks turned red all the way to his ears. "Ma'am, that's Mikey." Emily Carter looked at a 14-year-old boy in a hospital chair in San Antonio for a long, long time. "Hi, Mikey," she said. "Hi." He looked at his brother and then back at her, and then he said because he was 14 and nobody had told him not to, "You're the lady that got buried." "Michael." "It's fine," Emily said. "He says you saved him." "He saved himself. He climbed a ladder twice." Mikey thought about that. "He said you told him to go down and he went down and then he came back up." "He did." "Why'd you tell him to go down?" And Emily Carter, with a chest tube and 11 pins in her and about 40% of a left lung, said, because somebody's brother should get to come home. Mikey didn't have anything for that. He was 14. He put his phone in his pocket 14 months later. The trial took 14 months, and Ted Brennan got 31 years, and there were 9 other people, and 4 of them were in buildings with flags out front, and 2 of them were the kind of names that make a person put down a coffee cup. The drive did all of it. 4 years of transmissions, every payment. The log they showed Ellis Ward, and the log underneath it, and a timestamp on the built one that came 40 minutes after 11 Americans died, which meant it had been made to explain something that had already been decided. Emily Carter testified for 6 days. She never raised her voice once. On the 4th day, a lawyer asked her why she had kept an obsolete rifle in service for 13 years and whether that decision had endangered the Marines under her support. And Emily Carter looked at him and said, "Sir, that rifle killed the man who tried to kill me from a sitting position at 3,140 meters with a cracked scope on a tower that was already falling. What have you done today?" They struck it from the record. 49 people had already heard it. 3 years later, she came back to a training facility as an instructor, and the first class had 32 young Marines in it, and they had all read about her, and every single one of them expected a legend. What they got was a small, tired woman with a scar down the left side of her face who walked with a limp on cold mornings and never once raised her voice. She carried the rifle in. It had been rebuilt again. New scope. The crack in the receiver they finally welded. The stock had a piece in it now that didn't match anything because the old piece went to a beam in Arizona and stayed there. She set it on the table, and 32 Marines looked at it, and one of them in the back made a face. She saw it. She always saw it. "Say it," she said. The kid went white. "Ma'am, You looked at it for 4 seconds and you decided what it was," Emily said. "Everybody does. Say it out loud. It's better out loud." The kid swallowed. "Ma'am, it looks like junk." And Emily Carter smiled. "That's right," she said. "That's exactly right. That's the whole lesson, and you gave it to me for free on day 1. She picked it up. Every person in this room is going to spend a career looking at something for 4 seconds and deciding what it is. A weapon, a village, a file, a woman who shows up in the back of a pickup truck. She set it down again. You will be wrong, not maybe. You will be wrong, and the only question that will ever matter about your life is what you do in the 4 seconds after you find out. 32 Marines wrote nothing down because nobody writes down the thing that changes them. There was a sergeant, she said, who threw this rifle in the dirt in front of 50 men, and 9 hours later he ran 400 meters at 5 armed men who yelled friendly, and he took 3 of them, and he got shot doing it, and he lived, and last Christmas he sent me a photograph of his daughter. She looked at the back row. He was wrong at 8 in the morning, she said. He was right at 17:20. That's the same man. That's the whole man. Don't you ever let anybody tell you that a person is only their worst 4 seconds. Somebody in the 3rd row asked the question. Somebody always did. Ma'am, why do you still carry it? Emily Carter put her hand flat on the stock. Because people thought it was worthless, she said. She let that sit. They were wrong. And in the end, that was the whole story, and it was never about a rifle at all. It was about 11 names on a stone and a man who wore his watch on the wrong wrist for 4 years so one person would know him. It was about a lieutenant who stood in a road and did nothing brilliantly. It was about a sergeant who grabbed an ankle with the last strength in his body. It was about a boy from Bakersfield who climbed a ladder twice and screamed the truth at the sky when nobody could stop him. It was about a commander who wrote it down. And it was about a woman everybody laughed at who knelt in the dirt, picked up the only thing she had left, and stood back up. Because the person who looks broken is very often the one strong enough to carry everybody else. And the weapon everybody laughs at is the one that saves them all. Part 5. Lưu ý Việt đủ 4.000 đến 4.500 từ. Liên kết liền mạch với các phần trước trong câu chuyện pha hội thoại tạo thành một câu chuyện liền mạch khi ghép lại. Mỗi phần liền mạch với phần trước không giới thiệu lại câu chuyện ở đầu phần mới. Liên kết các phần của câu chuyện một cách liền mạch. Sử dụng câu chuyện tiếp giữa các phần. Duy trì chủ đề. Tránh ngắt quãng đột ngột, không sử dụng gạch đầu dòng hoặc tiêu đề phụ phong cách truyền Mỹ Hoa Kỳ giống văn giàu cảm xúc. Chân thực và gần gũi, không mô tả cảnh tập trung vào hành động, cảm xúc và tâm lý nhân vật. Viết phần 5 đạt điểm 10 trên 10 và bổ sung tiết tấu câu chuyện nhanh sửa lời AI. Kế theo ngôi thứ 3 giữ độ kịch tính không viết lan man. Kết thúc dùng câu khẳng định mạnh để khép lại câu chuyện rõ ràng, trọn vẹn. Lưu ý trả lời trong một tin nhắn không nhảy sang mục document mời. 2 đến 3 phút cần có mini climax và đặt 10 đến 15 mini climax, mỗi phần cứ 10 đến 12 phút có một twist lớn sâu sắc. Đan xen mini cliffhanger mạnh hơn. Tăng tính tự nhiên cho phản ứng của các nhân vật, thêm nhịp điệu, kịch tính thực tế và gần gũi. Mỗi 8 đến 10 phút cần có móc giữ chân khán giả. Lưu ý không mô tả cảnh viết văn bản phù hợp với TDCS và chỉ cần viết nội dung và viết đúng lệnh nhé. Show more orchestrated, expanded narrative with emotional depth and dramatic pacing. Orchestrated, expanded narrative with emotional depth and dramatic pacing. 1813. Reyes, take the phone. Marcus Reyes crossed 9 meters of Arizona dirt and lifted the phone out of Ted Brennan's hand before the man's thumb finished moving, and then he just stood there holding it, 29 years old, half his face wrapped in gauze that had gone brown 2 hours ago, and he did not say one word. Brennan spun on him. That is a federal device. Yes, sir. You have just committed. Sir, I picked up a phone, Reyes said. I didn't touch you. Nobody touched you. You can ask any of these 49 guys. Commander, Brennan wheeled. Commander Cole, you tell your lieutenant. Mr. Brennan. Cole hadn't moved. You want it back, ask him nice. Commander, that phone is on a network that. I know what network it's on, Cole said. That's why he took it. 1814. Franco. Sir, that truck run. Sir, it's got a busted rear leaf and Franco, does it run? Sir, it runs. Then you take 3 men up that ridge. 3 clicks north, finger 3rd rock from the base with the shadow going the wrong way. If there's a man in that hide and he's breathing, you bring him back, breathing. And if there is anything within 10 feet of him, a pack, a notebook, a phone, a sandwich wrapper, you bring that too, and you do not open it, and you do not look inside it, and you do not let anybody else look inside it. And if somebody tells you to hand it over, the answer is no. Sir, who would tell me to? Franco. Franco looked at the man in the soft shell jacket. Sir, going. Commander. Brennan stepped into the road. Commander, I am ordering you not to send those Marines. Cole turned his head slow. Say that again, he said. Little louder. There's a notebook up on that pile, and it's got a boy from Bakersfield holding it. Brennan's mouth closed. 1815. Brooks had his hand flat on the beam and his ear almost against the steel. Ma'am, they're rolling. Franco's going up. Nothing. Ma'am, nothing. Ma'am, answer me, ma'am. Corporal, it came out of the radio in Cole's hand instead, and it was thin as paper. Corporal, stop shouting into steel. It's not a telephone. Brooks laughed. It came out broken, and he wiped his face with the back of a bleeding wrist. Ma'am, don't do that. Do what? Go quiet like that. Daniel, a long pull of air that hurt going in and sounded worse coming out. Daniel, I'm going to go quiet eventually. That's arithmetic, but I'll tell you when. That's the deal. It's the only one I've got left, so take it. Ma'am, I don't want that deal. Nobody ever does, Emily said. 1816. Cole. Send it. Sir, get the trauma captain over here. Carter, she's on Delgado. Delgado's critical. Sir, I know Delgado's critical. That's why I'm not asking for the team. I'm asking for her. 2 minutes. Why, Tom? Because I need somebody who knows what they're looking at to give me a number. Carter. Sir, don't do that. Don't do the thing where you protect me from a clock. Her voice caught and dragged itself back. Sir, I have been reading clocks all day. It's the only thing I'm still good at. 1817. Captain Ruiz came at a jog with somebody else's blood to the elbows and climbed a pile of collapsed tower in her boots like she'd been doing it her whole life. She put her hand flat on the beam. Ma'am, I'm Captain Ruiz. Tell me exactly what you feel. Don't be brave about it. It wastes my time. Captain, I like you already. Ma'am, beam 4 inches over my hips, second one under my back. I'm in a triangle about the size of a bathtub. Copy. Left ribs. I can feel them move when I talk. Breathing offert. Wet. Ruiz's face changed about half a degree, and she got it back under control in a quarter second, and Brooks saw the half degree and the bottom went out of him. Ma'am, are you cold? Silence. Ma'am. Yes. How long? At 25 minutes. Ruiz sat back on her heels and looked at Cole. Cole did not look away. 1818. Ma'am, I'm not going to lie to you. Please don't. Everybody's been lying to me since 2011, Captain, and honestly, the technique's gotten sloppy. Ma'am, you're bleeding into your chest and I can't reach you. Your pressure's dropping and I can hear it in your voice. If we cut that stack wrong, the whole thing settles and it's over in 1 second. If we cut it right, it's 40 minutes minimum. Give me the number. 30, Ruiz said. Maybe 40. And ma'am, if I get you at 40, I still might not. Nobody on that pile breathed. Then Emily Carter said, That's good. That's plenty. Ma'am, that is not plenty. Captain, you don't understand, she said. I've been trying to buy 30 minutes for 4 years. 1819. Sir. Franco, engine noise, wind. Sir, we're on the ridge. Talk to me. Sir, I'm standing 11 feet from this hide and I still can't see it. His voice had gone strange. Sir, there's a man in this ridge who built a hole in Arizona I'm walking on top of and can't find. Franco, is he alive? Wind on the net. Franco, 1820. Sir, he's alive. 49 Marines and 1 man in a soft shell jacket heard it at the same instant, and one of those 50 people flinched. Sir, he's hit high left chest through and through. He's got a pack, a phone, a notebook. And sir, Franco stopped. Sir, he's got his hands up. He had his hands up before we got out of the truck. He's been laying here bleeding with his hands in the air the whole time. Cole's throat shut. Does he say anything? Sir, one thing. He keeps saying it. What? Sir, he says, is she under it? 1821. The sound Emily Carter made on that radio was one nobody on that range ever repeated to another human being. Ma'am, Brooks got both hands on the beam. Ma'am, Franco. Her voice came back iron, and it was fake iron, and every man there knew it was fake, and nobody said so. Franco, this is Carter. Ma'am, do not move him. Ma'am, he's bleeding out. Corporal Franco, you do not move that man 1 inch until you look under his right hip. Under his, there'll be a wire. 4 seconds of nothing. Then Franco, an octave higher, ma'am, there's a wire. 1822. Nobody moves. Cole was already walking. Franco, freeze. Everybody up there, freeze. Franco, Emily. Eyes only. Where does it go? Ma'am, into the pack. Under the pack or into it? Into it, ma'am. Is his hand on it? Ma'am, his hands are up. Then listen to me, she said. That's not a trap. If it were a trap, the wire runs under. That's a dead man's switch on a hard drive, and he has been laying in there for 45 minutes holding his own weight off. It's shot through the chest so that nobody sets it and wipes 4 years. 1823. Nobody said anything. Then Ted Brennan said, that's enough, and turned for the SUV. Reyes stepped into his path. Weapon slung, muzzle in the dirt, hands empty, exactly as ordered. Move, Lieutenant. No, sir. I will end you. Yes, sir, probably. Reyes didn't move. Sir, I'm not touching you. I'm standing here. Brennan looked past him at the road, and there were 8 Marines in it, then 14, then 26. Nobody ran. Nobody shouted. Nobody raised a weapon. 49 bleeding, filthy, half-deaf Americans walked into a road and stood in it with their hands empty, and Ted Brennan stood in the middle of a wall of people who were doing absolutely nothing at all, and it was the most helpless moment of his entire life. Commander, he said. Commander, this is unlawful. Mr. Brennan named the law, Cole said. Take your time, I'll wait. Standing in a road. 1824. Franco, bring him, with the pack, exactly how she says it. Sir, moving Ayo, Franco. Sir, keep him alive. I don't care what you have to do. Sir, I got my hand in the hole right now. 1826. Ma'am, Brooks right against the steel. Ma'am, they're bringing him in. I heard. Ma'am, what are you going to say to him? A long pause. Corporal, I have been writing that speech for 4 years, Emily said. 4 years. Every night I had it perfect. And I've got about 9 minutes of lung left, and I can't remember one word of it. Her breath tore. Isn't that something? 1828. They put the truck 10 feet from the pile, and 4 Marines carried Ellis Ward off the back on a litter, and Ruiz met them halfway with her hands already moving. He was gray. He was a big man, gone small. There was a hole high on his left side with a bandage he had packed himself one-handed in a hole in the ground while his other hand stayed in the air. And he turned his head toward that pile of steel before anybody told him where she was. Chief, the whole range stopped. Chief, are you under it? 1829. Ellis. His face did something. Nathan Cole was standing 4 feet away and watched it happen and never described it to anybody. Not his wife, not the board, not one person in 19 more years of living. Chief, I'm sorry. Don't. Chief, don't you dare. And her voice came up out of the ground like it had been coiled there for 4 years waiting, and it filled that whole range, and men 50 meters away heard it. Don't you dare say sorry to me, Ellis Ward. I carried you. Do you hear me? I carried you 4 kilometers. I zipped the bag myself. I sat in a hole for 11 hours in the dark, and I talked to you. I told you about my mother. I told you what I was going to do when I got home. I told you I was sorry I got you killed. Chief? And you were not in the bag. Ward's eyes closed. I know. Who was in the bag? Chief? Who was in the bag, Ellis? 1830. Rojas, he said. Under 110 feet of American steel, everything went perfectly still. Rojas. He was gone before I got to him. Chief, I swear on my mother he was already gone. There was nothing. There was nothing left to do. Ward's chest hitched, and Ruiz put a hand on him, and he pushed it off with 2 fingers, which was all the strength he had in the world. I put my carrier on him, my boots, my watch, and I walked away. Why? Because they told me you were the leak. 1831. 49 people stopped breathing at once. Say that again, Cole said. They told me the chief sold us. Ward's head rolled toward the voice. Sir, whoever you are. 8 hours after. 8 hours. They sat me in a room and put a transmission log in front of me with her name on it, and they told me she sold 11 of my brothers for money. And they told me the only way to work it was from the inside, and they told me that if I ever surfaced, they'd have her killed before I ever got a warrant signed. So you died. So I died, Ward said, on purpose, and I let her carry me out to sell it, and I spent 4 years chasing a man I thought was her handler. And Ellis Ward turned his head. He looked across 10 feet of Arizona dirt at Ted Brennan, and I found him about 2 hours ago, he said, when he told me she'd be on that tower at 1600. 1832. 49 heads turned like one head. Brennan didn't blink. This man is a fugitive. He's been off the reservation 4 years. He will say anything, too. Mr. Brennan, Ward's voice was almost nothing, and it carried anyway. 417-Kilo-99. Brennan stopped talking. That's the bench number in Building 14, Ward said, where you had them build the charges. 2 Phillips screws in the back because Delaney's shop doesn't stock molded, and you didn't want a requisition with your name on it. Brennan went the color of paper. Mr. Brennan, Cole said quietly, you want to tell 49 Marines what Building 14 is. Take your time. Brennan said nothing, which on a range with 49 witnesses was the loudest thing he said at all day, 1833. Sir. Emily, barely there. Sir, the pack. Franco. Sir, I got it. Nobody's touched it. Chief. Ward's head turned back to the steel and stayed there. Chief, the drive's clean. It's 4 years, every transmission, every payment, and it's got the log they showed me and the luck underneath it. What log underneath it? Chief, the one they showed me was built, Ward said. It was built 40 minutes after the compromise. Your name got typed onto it by somebody who already knew what he wanted it to say. Ellis. Chief, it was never you. 1834. Under the steel, Emily Carter started to cry, and Corporal Daniel Brooks, 23 years old from Bakersfield, sat down on a pile of tower with his hand flat on a beam and a green notebook in his lap, and he cried out loud in front of 49 United States Marines, and not one man on that range looked away, and not one man ever said a word about it that night or any night after. Ma'am, it wasn't you. It was never you. Corporal, ma'am, 4 years. Daniel, her voice was going in and out like a radio in a canyon. Write it down. Ma'am, I can't see the page. Then say it out loud, she said. Say it loud enough that every man standing on this dirt has to carry it home in his chest. Brooks stood up on the wreck and screamed it at the sky. It was never her. And 49 Marines heard it, and one of them was on his back with a tube in his arm, and one of them had a phone in his hand that wasn't his, and one of them was a commander with 19 years and nothing left to protect. 1835. Ted Brennan ran. He got 9 steps toward the SUV, and then Sergeant Vic Rennick, flat on his back in the dirt with a corpsman screaming into his face, reached out and grabbed the man's ankle. That's all. One hand, one ankle. Brennan went down hard in front of 49 people, and he never got up because by the time he pushed onto an elbow, there were 8 Marines standing in a ring around him with their hands empty and their muzzles down, doing exactly nothing precisely as ordered, and there was nowhere in the entire state of Arizona for him to go. Rennick let go. Cole's voice cracked in half. Sergeant, let go. You're tearing yourself. Rennick's eyes were shut. He was smiling. Sir, he said, I've been wrong once today already. 1837. Cut it. Ruiz was up on the stack. Cut it now. Top 3 lifted straight. Nothing sideways. Nothing sideways. I will personally kill the man who goes sideways. 49 Marines got on that tower. Not 8, not 20. All of them. Men with holes in them. Men who hadn't eaten in 15 hours. Tavares on one leg with his arm around Franco's neck. Reyes with his gauze coming off. Men who had stood in a formation at 0800 and laughed at a small woman with an ugly rifle, now with their bare hands buried in steel, screaming at each other about angles, lifting, straining, slipping, lifting again. And Brooks in the middle of it with his hands already open and bleeding doing it again. Ma'am, talk to me. Nothing. Ma'am. Daniel, a thread. Ma'am, keep talking. Daniel, I'm so cold. Ma'am, keep talking. That's an order. Corporal, a ghost of something almost like humor. Corporal, you don't outrank me. Ma'am, I'm the second head you said so talk. 1841. Beam, beam, coming up straight, straight, straight. I got a hand. I see her, sir, sir. I see her hand. 1842. They got her out at 1842. Nathan Cole never remembered the last 30 seconds of it. He remembered his own hands under her shoulders. He remembered Ruiz shouting numbers. He remembered a bathtub-sized triangle inside a mountain of steel and a woman inside it who weighed nothing at all. And he remembered that as they lifted her out, her right hand was closed on nothing, closed exactly where a rifle sling would have been 11 feet from where the rifle was standing muzzle down in the dirt. They laid her on the ground. She got her eyes open, and the first thing Emily Carter said, with a chest full of blood and 4 minutes of pressure left in her, was, Ellis, is he alive? Chief, 10 feet away. Chief, I'm right here. She turned her head. 1843. You never took the watch off. No, Chief. 4 years. 4 years. Why? Ellis Ward's face came apart. Because if I ever got to say it out loud, he said, I needed you to know it was me. And there was exactly one person on this earth who'd look at my wrist. 1844. Emily closed her eyes. Ellis. Chief. Your mother hugged me. Chief, don't. At the service in Virginia. Her voice was going and she would not let it. Your mother put her arms around me and told me it wasn't my fault. Ellis, your mother has been putting flowers on Rojas for 4 years. Ward made a sound like a man being taken apart with a screwdriver. I know. You're going to call her. Chief, Ellis Ward. She got her eyes open one last time. You are going to live, and you are going to walk into that woman's kitchen, and you are going to tell her yourself with your own mouth. That's the order. That is my last order as your chief. Do you copy? Chief, I. Do you copy? Copy, Chief. 1845. The doors shut and the ambulance went out the south gate at 90 miles an hour, and 49 Marines stood in the dirt and watched it go, and nobody said anything. Then Franco said to nobody at all, that rifle's still standing up. Every head on that range turned, muzzle in the dirt, stock in the air, scope sheared clean off at the mount, wedged between 2 beams like somebody had planted it there on purpose. Rennick said from the ground, don't nobody touch it. Sergeants. I said, don't nobody touch it. Nobody did. Not for 6 hours. 1849. 4 vehicles came through the south gate at 1849, and none of them were Brennan's. Army CID, very calm, very fast. The man in charge listened to Nathan Cole for 6 minutes without interrupting once, and then asked exactly one question. Who wrote it down? And 49 Marines turned and looked at a 23-year-old corporal from Bakersfield sitting on a pile of steel with a green notebook in both hands ruined. Son, can I see that? Brooks held it against his chest. Sir. Corporal, I'm not going to take it from you. Sir, I already read it out loud, Brooks said, in front of everybody. 49 guys heard the whole thing, so you can take it if you want. It don't matter anymore. The man from CID looked at him a long moment. No, he said. I don't suppose it does. 1852. Ted Brennan asked for a lawyer at 1852. He asked in front of 49 witnesses in the dirt of a range that had been closed for 2 years next to a building he had shelled 90 feet from a tower he'd ordered dropped on a woman. And the thing Nathan Cole carried for the rest of his life was this: Brennan asked for a lawyer before he asked whether anybody had died. That was the whole man right there. One question in the wrong order. 11 weeks later, Emily Carter woke up in a military hospital in San Antonio for the second time in her life. The first time 4 years earlier, there had been nobody in the chair. This time the chair was full. He was 23 and out of uniform and asleep, sitting up with his chin on his chest in a green notebook flat on his knees, and there was a kid beside him, maybe 14, playing something on a phone with the sound off. The kid saw her eyes open. Hey, Danny. Brooks came awake like a man falling out of a tree. Ma'am, Corporal. Ma'am, you're... Corporal, who's this? Brooks went red to the ears. Ma'am, that's Mikey. Emily Carter looked at a 14-year-old boy in a hospital chair in San Antonio for a long, long time, and something in her chest that had been locked since 2011 quietly gave up. Hi, Mikey. Hi. He looked at his brother, then back at her, and then he said it because he was 14 and nobody had told him not to. You're the lady that got buried. Michael. It's fine, Emily said. He says you saved him. He saved himself. He climbed a ladder twice. Mikey chewed on that. He said you told him to go down and he went down, and then he came back up. He did. Why'd you tell him to go down? And Emily Carter, with a chest tube and 11 pins in her and about 40% of a left lung, said, because somebody's brother ought to get to come home. Mikey didn't have anything for that. He was 14. He put the phone in his pocket. 14 months later. The trial ran 14 months, and Ted Brennan got 31 years, and there were 9 other people, and 4 of them worked in buildings with flags out front, and 2 of them were the kind of names that make a person set down a coffee cup very carefully. The drive did all of it. 4 years of transmissions, every payment. The log they showed Ellis Ward, and the log underneath it with a timestamp 40 minutes after 11, Americans died, which meant it had been built to explain a thing that had already been decided. Emily Carter testified for 6 days. She never raised her voice one time. On the 4th day, a lawyer in a good suit asked her why she had kept an obsolete weapon in service for 13 years and whether that decision had endangered the Marines relying on her. And Emily Carter looked at him. Sir, she said, that rifle killed the man who was sent to kill me at 3,140 meters from a sitting position with a cracked scope on a tower that was already coming down. What have you done today? They struck it from the record. 49 people had already heard it. 3 years later, she came back to a training facility as an instructor, and the first class had 32 young Marines in it, and every one of them had read about her, and every one of them expected a legend. What walked in was a small, tired woman with a scar down the left side of her face who limped on cold mornings and never once raised her voice. She carried the rifle in and set it on the table. It had been rebuilt again. New glass. They finally welded the receiver crack. The stock had a piece in it now that didn't match anything else because the old piece stayed in a beam in Arizona and she never asked for it back. 32 Marines looked at that rifle, and one of them in the back row made a face. She saw it. She always saw it. Say it. The kid went white. Ma'am, I didn't. You looked at it for 4 seconds and you decided what it was, Emily said. Everybody does. It's not a sin. It's a reflex. Say it out loud. It's better out loud. The kid swallowed hard. Ma'am, it looks like junk. And Emily Carter smiled. That's right, she said. That's exactly right. That's the whole lesson, and you handed it to me for free on day 1. Sit down. She picked it up. Every person in this room is going to spend a career looking at something for 4 seconds and deciding what it is. A weapon, a village, a file, a woman who shows up in the back of a pickup truck with an ugly rifle. Sipam. She set it back down. And you will be wrong, not maybe, not sometimes. You will be wrong, and the only question that will ever matter about your entire life is what you do in the 4 seconds after you find out. Nobody wrote anything down. Nobody ever writes down the thing that changes them. There was a sergeant, she said, who threw this rifle in the dirt in front of 50 men because he didn't want them to see him fumble. 9 hours later, he ran 400 meters at 5 armed men who shouted friendly, and he took 3 of them, and he got shot doing it, and he lived. Last Christmas, he sent me a photograph of his daughter. She looked at the back row until the kid looked up. He was wrong at 8 in the morning. He was right at 17:20. That's the same man. That's the whole man. Her voice never rose. Don't you ever let anybody tell you a person is only their worst 4 seconds. Not him, not you, not the woman standing in front of you. Somebody in the 3rd row raised a hand because somebody always did. Ma'am, why do you still carry it? Emily Carter put her hand flat on the stock. Because people thought it was worthless, she said. She let that sit in the room until it hurt. They were wrong, and that was the end of it. And it was never about a rifle at all. It was about 11 names cut into a stone in Virginia and a 12th name that had to be cut out of it. It was about a man who wore his watch on the wrong wrist for 4 years so that one single person on this earth would know him when she saw him. It was about a lieutenant who stood in a road and did nothing and did it brilliantly. It was about a sergeant who caught an ankle with the last strength in his body. It was about a boy from Bakersfield who climbed a ladder twice and screamed the truth at the sky when there was nobody left to stop him. It was about a commander who wrote it down. And it was about a woman that 50 men laughed at who knelt in the dirt, picked up the only thing she had left in the world and stood back up. The people who look broken are the ones carrying everybody else. And the weapon everybody laughs at is the one that saves them all.